Connected? Okay. Let's see if I go live now. Okay. Looks like I'm live. I guess we'll find out. I'm a little earlier than midnight because, you know, well, why not? Hey, Space Cowboy. Mulligan, hey, you guys are back. Yo, Tyler. Hey, John. My night's okay. Oh, Johnson 50. I'm doing all right. Did an earlier stream just a little bit ago. Took a little break. Sat on the recliner. Got a little, you know, the vibrator pad thing going. Hey, Warlord. I'm okay. Hey, Mr. Duckman. Right on. Okay. Oh, so I'm not sure what, you know, I didn't really plan the last one either. I'm not really planning this one. I guess we'll just see how it goes. I think I'm going to try and see if I can be a little more slower paced, just because I think I got a little amped up and excited and, you know, talking too fast and the like. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more chill this time, I think, and see if I can manage. Hey, Daniel, yeah, you know, I left and came back, right? Yep, everything is okay so far, Eli? Or should I say that Eli is, you know, I'm, you know. Yeah, more or less okay. I gotta keep myself from slouching and there we go. Try to get a little more decent posture and that sort of thing, you know. Try to be reasonably healthy or something like that. I don't know. You know, I had I was thinking because, you know, a friend of mine, well, you know, because I've been talking about maybe doing reactions, right? Because it was, well, basically a friend of mine, well, I've spoken with one friend of mine in the UK, and there's another friend of mine in the UK, and he's the one that suggested I do reactions. But he had suggested I do music, frankly. Yeah, anyway, he suggested, because I posted a thing the other day on a piece of music by a guy named Chet Baker, who's a trumpet player and singer from back in the day. Anyway, my friend had said, hey, you should react to stuff like that, because I could talk a little bit about it. I know a little bit about Chet Baker, but I could also look it up, because he's a jazz guy. I admire him greatly, or admired, yeah, I admire him. He's no longer alive, I don't believe, so yeah. Okay, anyways, let's see what comments we got going on here. So Jonathan says, thoughts on chiropractors. I have never used one. I've had a couple of friends that say it is great. I've had some people say don't go because they're quacks. I never really had a desire to go to see a chiropractor, and the issues I have with my spine now, I don't have any interest in having anybody poke around in my spine. You know, maybe I'm being overly, you know, cautious or something, but yeah, it doesn't take, like, I can sneeze and throw myself, like I'll be in bed for, you know, a couple of days from sneezing, you know what I mean? It doesn't always happen that way, you know what I mean? It's just, who knows what's going to pinch a nerve and how it's going to cause a spasm or something or whatever. Anyway, that's not, I don't want to gripe about mine. Anyway, Noah says, what's up, Bill? Longtime listener and fan of your thank you, man. I appreciate that you've been around, and I'm glad that you dig my material, man. That's fantastic. So I'm trying to think of something we could see. It's midnight and my brain is slow, so what am I gonna regale you guys with, I suppose? Well, I guess the thing is, what would you guys think about, I mean, if I didn't, not so much reaction in terms of like it's going to be a big surprise, but if I kind of just, I don't know if it's really a reaction then, is it? You know, I don't know, but doing stuff like the piece of music I just mentioned with Chet Baker, I don't know, would you be interested in watching me listen to a thing and then talk about it afterwards? I don't know. I mean, I think you probably would, but I don't know. I don't want to be so vain as to think every idea that comes out of my head is great, but. History. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm kind of a generally curious guy, you know what I mean? Um, and history kind of fascinates me. Um, and rabbit hole. You know, I don't know that I end up in rabbit holes in history. Um, yeah, you know, I don't know that that ever happens. These things will catch my attention. Like, there's a guy who does history stuff on YouTube. That had a really, really good episode or video, or whatever. It's called man, I think it's the longest year in history or something like that. It's Rome under Julius Caesar, and it was because he had to tinker with the calendar and a whole lot of other things that went on, and that was pretty interesting. So I get fascinated by that kind of thing, and then of course cultural figures out of history that I find fascinating, like Hildegard von Bingen. You know, was a philosopher, musician, composer, all of that. You know, really fantastic. Um, anyway, let me get back to some of this. Try not to laugh challenge. Hmm. Okay, what would be the topic of the ASMR? Oh, I see what you're saying. All right. Oh, man, okay. That'll take. Okay, I'll think about that. That might be a thing. Do you mean the history of ASMR, or do you mean me doing history in an ASMR fashion, Mr. Duck? Um, okay, so it sounds like, Mulligan, that you'd be okay with me reacting to most things. Is that kind of the vibe I'm getting? You just want me to tell you nonsense that I think about things, which I'd happy to do. You know, I don't know. If I get the ball rolling, as you guys probably saw in the last stream, if, you know, for those of you who were around, um, I can get, I don't know, distracted by tangents and just kind of you know. So um, love a good react video. Yeah, you know, I do occasionally like watching reaction videos. I think I mentioned this before, maybe not. Um, like, one thing I like watching, there's this one guy who's kind of caught my attention. I've seen a few times do reactions. He's a metalhead, and like recently I watched him react to "Close to the Edge" by Yes, which is that's a fantastic piece of music, and it was interesting to watch. He's a very young guy, and it's fun to watch young guys, you know, get into, or, you know, people get exposed to stuff and go, wow, that's great. Another thing I think is fantastic is seeing younger people, um, when they do reactions to the Righteous Brothers, because well, they surprise people. You know, Blue Eyed Soul. They're fantastic. You know. Anyway, um, tier list of stuff. That's an interesting idea. You know what? Yeah, you know, yeah, you know, I could probably come up with some amusing things doing tier lists having to do with, you know, I don't know, things that, like, gear or something like that. You know, like my favorite gear, my least favorite gear, stuff like that. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll think about that. I was just thinking, how easy would it be for me to, because I tend to just go, I like that, oh, I don't like that. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, tier list. That's an interesting thing for me to consider. Thank you, Jonathan. Um, Covering history while doing it. Okay, all right, right on, Mr. Duck. I get you. Okay. Um, you know, who's that guy? Well, of course, the French guy, French Whisperer. He's fantastic. He does a lot of that. I like a lot of his stuff. And what's this other guy I occasionally see? I mostly watch female people just because the timbre of female voices tends to, you know, hit my ear more pleasantly when I'm looking for ASMR. But I think it's Let's Find Out. I've liked a few of his videos. Um, you know, they do kind of historic stuff, and they, you know, do it in a very chill manner. I dig that. Okay. Yeah, you know, I don't. Well, you know, O. Johnson. Yeah, insights. Yeah, could be a cool thing. I don't know whether I really have insight or not, but I can certainly give you my. Well, I guess it would be insight, but whether it's valuable or not, I guess you guys will have to judge for yourselves after I say it, I suppose. Okay, one final minute. Well, favorite show, series, or movie you've watched? Well, recently, I'm really, really obsessed with Taskmaster, that show from the UK. I really, really like that show. And actually, I quite like British TV in general. Like I like 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown. I really like that a lot. You know, R.I.P. for Sean Locke. Um, what else do I like? I like a lot of UK TV shows. Um, Mostly those kind of light entertainment, you know, panel type shows. Um, yeah, those two. I also like what is it that the big fat quiz stuff that Jimmy Carr does, and I like Jimmy Carr as a comic too. I like the fact that he just likes to, you know, see how much he can, you know, push people's buttons. It's just okay. Let me scroll. The chat's getting away from me. Let me go back up. Okay. Okay. Hi, virtual. I'm assuming is that virtual God. Um, Long shot requesting this, but I'd love to have another show and tell video like you did way back in the day. Well, didn't you just see the one I just did with my gear? Or do you? I mean, I'm not sure what else. I mean, I am planning on doing a couple more actually. I tried filming one with my collection of masks, and the footage just I just yeah I didn't like it, so I'm gonna have to redo that. Um, Yeah, I also was thinking of doing a show and tell because I have a lot of stuff I have to go through that's down here in my living space, like stuff that I've had in boxes for a long time. It's like, dude, go through the boxes, get rid of stuff, you know, and you know whatever. Anyway, I've a lot of boxes of books, which I don't tend to get rid of books, but I need to kind of reorganize them and you know get them out of boxes and actually out onto shelves. So that would be a kind of a cool thing because I have all of my math texts. Um, and I'd saved a bunch. I have most of my textbooks. I tended not to sell textbooks back. I tend to keep them, or I tended to keep them while I was, because I didn't really go to school for a degree, man. I went to a school because I believe in the idea of a liberal arts education. I think it's good for humans to learn how to think about stuff and get exposed to things. And again, you know, humans should help humans. That's, you know, kind of my thing of the day. Anyway, okay, so here we go. Oh, and you know, I haven't watched any movies lately. What movie have I seen most recently? Getting back to O. Johnson 50s, that movie that I've seen recently. You know, I know I've seen something more recently than this, but the thing that I kind of remember really enjoying a little while back was Enola Holmes. I think it was on Netflix. I really enjoyed that. I really, really did enjoy that. That was really quite something. Hey, virtual God. Okay, here we go. Launch request. I'm gonna. Okay, see you, Space Cowboy. Get a good night's rest. I'm surprised you stayed up this long because you were already late anyway. And you're a youngster. Get your sleep, man. Okay, yeah. You know, Mulligan. Yeah. Okay. I guess that's a message heard. I will have to get back into that kind of idea of doing for videos, yeah? Conspiracy theories. Yeah. I don't know what to do about conspiracy theories. I'll think about that. Go ahead, Space Cowboy. What is the request you'd like to make? Go ahead. Okay, I know you like Lord of the Rings, but did you ever watch Game of... You know, I never saw Game of Thrones. It's because I don't have whatever channel that was, HBO or whatever it is. I don't have it. I don't have TV at all. I watch stuff online, you know, streaming stuff. A lot of YouTube. I consume a lot of YouTube just because there's a lot here, you know. I mean, there's just so much stuff. If you know, you have to search through things. But like you can find... oh, what's the stinking thing? Oh, The Prisoner or whatever. There's that, a lot of that stuff. There's also like Are You Being Served and stuff. I like a lot of British TV. Stuff like that. And of course, Taskmaster, and like I just mentioned, and all that kind of thing. You know, so I watch a lot of stuff like that. But no, I didn't see Game of Thrones. I'm interested of it, you know. So if it ever gets to a place where I can get access to it, or you know, something like that, I'd probably check it out. Okay, let's see. I'd love to throw in my words on your show and tells. Please do another one. Okay, yeah, okay, right on. Um, yeah, wasn't it, Johnson? That was great. Okay, Space Cowboy, an ASMR-esque vid about your life. Um, okay, go to sleep, man. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. That maybe I should, instead of just kind of rambling on in weird, half-assed manner, maybe I ought to sit down and actually think about a sort of somewhat biographical video that would be concise and kind of just give you guys a gist of, well, the screwball that I am, including jobs and actual, educational, what actually happened, and that kind of thing, courses I took and classes I dropped and that kind of thing. Um, yeah. I mean, I'll have to think about that, but I could certainly do that. Um, yeah, absolutely. Oh, you know what? Give me one quick sec. I'm gonna turn off this heater. Okay. I don't know whether you guys could hear it or not, but it just dawned on me. I had it running, and anyway, okay, so that'll be better now. All right. Okay, so you didn't. Well, I don't know, man. I guess that. I hope you found it. I hope you enjoy it. Um, as far as but yeah, I think doing the show and tells is a good idea. I mean, everybody seems to enjoy them, and I have a lot of stuff, and I'm trying to get rid of stuff. Frankly, it's like how many of you know the old George Carlin routine about stuff and how we spread our stuff over the world. And he talks about how you go on vacation and you take more stuff when you go to Hawaii. Then you're going to do a day trip from the hotel and you have to take more stuff. He just goes off on this whole thing. It's fantastic. Um, he's one of my favorite American comics. Um, I'm getting to meet you. I'm reading O. Johnson 50. He's happy to have met me here. Good. I'm thinking this is going to be a good thing. I need to do these. I'm thinking, depending on how I feel tomorrow, it seems like at least for the two streams here, people are, coming on, and this is good. I'm happy. See how the one goes tomorrow morning. I might try and do this once a month. Do you think that? I think that would work. What do you guys think? I think once a month is a good thing. Um, Oh yeah, it was just a weird thing. And I was running the heater. I don't know that it's really all that terribly cold here in California right now. Every once in a while, I just get a chill. I think it's I don't know, is it male menopause or something? Who knows? I just got a bit of a chill, and my intention was to run the heater up just to get the chill out of the room, and and then turn it off before I started the live stream. And I just forgot to turn it off. So, um, okay, so Spoonie, it's your 21st birthday. Right on. Happy birthday. Okay, so I know most people when they're doing their 21, right? They go out and hit the bars because it's legal, at least here, right? So I hope if you have done such a thing that you are not harming yourself. You don't overdo it, man. Um, there you go. 2020 gamer. Hi, yeah, I've listened to your old ASMR rambles a lot. Da, 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 da. I figured I'd say hi. I'm cool, man. Glad you came by and say hi. I'm glad you like the stuff. I appreciate that. I don't know. I'm trying to. Yeah, this is good when it's good for everybody, right? I like making it. If you guys like listening to it, then yippee yay, we're on a roll. Okay, so nasal penny 455. I like story of a train ride video style. Yeah, I would like to do more of those videos. That kind of thing requires me to get into a particular place and come up with the idea for it. You know what I mean? I'm really proud of that one, though. I think that's a really good one. Um, there's a few of my videos that I'm more proud of than others. Um, but whatever. I want to make what I can make and get you guys to enjoy it because I consume ASMR. You know what I mean? So I'm mindful of like I'm a huge fan of Maria's. I've been a huge fan of Maria's since the beginning, and well, since I came across her, it was like my first big person I was a huge fan of was Whisper Crystal, and then she just disappeared. But similar time frame, I also discovered Maria. Anyway, Maria can do anything, and I'd listen to it. You know what I mean? Um, and I end up going into weird, almost pseudo meditative state. Like if you were to say, "Hey, Bill, what was that video about?" I go, Maria sounds good." You know what I mean? I have no idea. Um, but so I realize that if a voice works for you, or if mannerisms work for you, whatever, for the ASMR, sometimes the content isn't necessarily really all that important. But I want to also put the content in there because sometimes people are not gelled out and they want to pay attention. You know what I mean? So I'd like it to be kind of good on multiple levels. Um, anyway. Um, okay, yeah, okay. Oh, Johnson 50 is saying once a month that he's getting a vote up for that once a month. Noah says, okay. You see, the once a week, I just don't think I have the stamina to do that. I don't know, maybe I'll change my mind. But let's start with, I'm going to try to do once a month. Assuming this, maybe tomorrow I'll change my mind. But, that's what I'm going to try to shoot for starting now. Um, anyway, yeah, okay. So have I considered doing more collabs with creators? Funny enough. From Whispers. Yeah, I have been thinking about that. I've even thought about once I kind of feel like I'm consistently on a roll and able to not be a flake, I might reach out to Paul and see if maybe he and I can do another thing. Ephemeral Rift. He's a really good guy. So if I came hat in hand and say, "Hey, look, I'm sorry, I was a jerk," and just kind of blew you off or whatever, he's probably gracious enough. He'd give me another chance. He's a fantastic dude, though. I mean, yeah, he just is. He's a fantastic dude. Okay, Warlord, have a good night's sleep, man. Good dreams. I hope you get rest and have a fantastic, from this point forward, right on. Wow, okay, watching the QA video a lot. Yeah, I'm wondering if I'm going to end up doing many more of those, frankly, because I think I'll probably end up doing, if I do these more often, I'll be catching all of that stuff here, won't I? I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But, yeah, I'm kind of, I was a little, a bit on I don't know, a little bit of a buzz after I finished the last stream, you know what I mean? Actually, I still kind of feel, ooh, this is exciting, because it's usually just me sitting around here working on stuff, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, weird stuff that Bill does. Let's see. Okay, so Noah, okay, good. I'm glad you dig that stuff. Love to see you do something else with the family. Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? I mean, as I said before in the last stream, because we did the duel, and I guess there was a few people who didn't know that we knew each other and had done that video. So I'm happy that people got turned on to that. I hope they check it out and like it, because it's really good. I guess that sounds boastful, but I think that one's worth boasting about. There's a few other of mine that I'm really, really proud of, like Box of Box. I'm really proud of that one. What else comes to mind that I'm really proud of? Those are probably the first to be the biggest ones, really. Yeah, I'm sure I'll think of another one, but let's see what else we have here. All right, thanks, Jocelyn. I think that's well. I'm glad you were here. Glad you dug it. Everything, yeah. Okay, so Ceramic Tooth, the Lullaby vid was the first one of yours I saw. Right, I did that one. That was quite a while ago, wasn't it? That was a pretty early one, if I remember properly. I thought about actually that video. I was thinking about that a little while ago, and I was thinking of maybe kind of resurrecting it to a degree of like revisiting it, like do another version of it now, because it would be different, right? You know what I mean? Like one, people, when musicians or whatever revisit material, right? You know what I mean? I'm thinking maybe I might do that, and maybe kind of mix it in with some other stuff, like maybe do I don't know, find some other lullabies, like the Brahms thing, and kind of maybe do them. I don't know, just do some trippy, semi-musical, ASMR-ish stuff. The alphabet one is your favorite. All right. Okay, yeah. Good to know. Because I like making that kind of stuff, like just coming up with a list of, just some arbitrary thing. And because, well, like that, I like the sound of certain words. Like I like the sound of the word arbitrary, right? I also like the sound of the word, like anything with a lot of C's, like contact or catatonic, things like that. I love the sounds of those types of words. I mean, as far as an ASMR thing. Okay, so yeah, some things take more preparation than others, and sometimes I get on a flow, you know what I mean? Like the story of a train ride thing. Um, I kind of came up with that idea, and then that was off the top of my head. You know what I mean? I didn't really. I mean, I kind of thought about it a bit, but I didn't. There was no script. I didn't write anything down. You know what I mean? Because I just found a good flow for it. Now, that's the way I want to do those types of videos if I can manage it. I just have to get my head into a space, and then um, yeah, anyway. Okay, so let's see what else we have here as a closing note here. Okay, blah blah blah. Whatever happened to the book you were reading? Oh, I did that. I just did a chapter because yeah, that was kind of a thing that my dad and I decided, and so that was just sort of a deal that I mean, it wasn't a deal. It wasn't like he paid me to do anything like that. Um, it's like it was just a thing. He said, "Hey, would you read a thing?" And I'd like to read a thing, and it just sort of worked out that way. Um, so I don't know. I might revisit that, but you can. I think the first one is still free. I think he just gives that one away. He's like a self-published author. I mean, so he's not like some famous guy or anything. Um, I like his stuff, but he's my dad, so I might be biased. Yeah. Um, are we going to see some more NNSB videos soon? Yeah, I have. Yeah, I want to make more of those. Absolutely want to make more of those. Um, yeah, I think I mentioned in the last stream that some people asked about putting more music in, and I mentioned that I'd like to do some kind of cross pollination of material, like do a thing here that would be more spoken on the ASMR channel with a little bit of musical element, and then do something over on the musical channel that would be kind of the same piece, but it would be more minimal on the vocal or the spoken word and more heavy on the musical element, but they have them so they kind of, I don't know, they can hang together in the universe together in a groovy way. Um, so stuff like that. I'd like to, yeah. So those things would lend themselves to NNSBB a lot. Um, so yeah, I need to get back into that, don't I? I mean, because yeah, I think when I can do those well, I think it's a groovy thing. So yeah. Oh, here's another thing that I thought of actually after the last stream. Now, this might be, I don't know whether you guys would be into it or not. Part of me thinks that you guys would love it, and part of me thinks it might be a little ridiculous. But a while back, I haven't in a long time, but I used to watch Getting Doug with High. I don't know if you guys have ever, if you know, I can't even think of his name. Doug Benson, is that his name? Um, and I don't know that he's one of my favorite comics. I kind of enjoy his stuff, but I liked watching he just did this podcast where he just got stoned and talked to people. Um, but I don't really have any, I'm not going to have any famous people in here to talk to. I mean, who's going to want to come talk to this weirdo, right? It's like, oops, that's the guy with the crooked glasses and the long beard. Anyway, I thought about, because I do use cannabis, but there's a thing. I know how YouTube is weird about the glorification of drug use, and I'm not interested in glorifying it or anything like that. However, it is legal here in California, and I do think I could get into that, that typical stereo, because I do that, like when you get stoned and you go, hey man, did you ever think about, dot, 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 fill in the blanks. And that might yield some interesting, stuff for you guys to watch. It might also just be horribly boring too, Anyway, that's a thing I've been considering. I don't know about that one though. That's just a seed of it popped into my head tonight. So we'll see. Yeah. I don't really have any. I was trying to think if there's stuff that I wanted to bring up, like I feel like I'm forgetting things that I wanted to mention before. So let me have some tea while I think about it. Well, good night, Mr. Duckman. Oh, I haven't even really seen how many people are here. I don't really pay attention to that. I suppose I should, shouldn't I? So there's 13 people here. That's not so bad, man. It's better than 0. Yeah. I guess the other thing I need to worry about, or not worry about, but I need to consider in this streaming experiment is whether or not this is really the right set of time frames that I've chosen. I think the first one, doing a 9 o'clock on a Saturday, worked well. I'm wondering if this is going to end up being as successful as the last one. And we'll find out, I'll just go for, I'll probably go for about an hour-ish, maybe a little bit more. I'll probably end up going more just because that's the way it always goes for me. I get, something happens and I keep do. Yeah. And then, anyway, we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to dial in the time frame, and then once a month is the plan, I guess. Okay, let me get back to comments here. 4 keys, FTW. Would be interesting to watch you play chess. I really enjoy your strategy game videos. Maybe, yeah, I'm not very good at chess, but I'd be willing to, give it. Because I remember how the pieces move and all of that. Strategy is a thing you have to develop, right? You need familiarity with the board, and you just have to do it. And it's one of those things you have to do. And I don't play it. I haven't played it in years, but I could certainly, get. I know that there's chess software for the Pop OS from the repository that I could get. So I'm sure I could find one that would be sort of like a teach yourself chess by playing the computer type one. You know what I mean? And that would be maybe worth doing, because obviously you would be watching me relearn, how to. Again, I know how the pieces move. It's just, but playing chess is more than just knowing how the pieces move. Okay, anyways, let's see where we're at. Play chess. You like my voice? Cool, great. Reclaimer Rob. I used to do my college homework to your videos, and now I'm closing in on 37 and still watching. Love that you're still active. Thanks, man. I'm glad that you've been a long-time viewer like that. And yeah, kind of a crazy span of life that you're talking about, right? From college to into your 30s. For me, that was a pretty, crazy period of my life. There was a lot of, I'll just use the word decadence, and leave it at that. And yes, there will be more to come. It is my intention to, while I'm trying to get my life together in other ways, I'm going to make ASMR. Well, I'm going to make ASMR till I croak. It's like my intention to make music till I croak. I don't know how much longer I'll keep up the W.C. Postman, I yell at the clouds type channel. That's more cathartic, and I think maybe I have interesting insight here and there. I don't know. That's probably vain, but it is what it is. But yeah, ASMR. Well, ASMR is a huge part of my life. You know what I mean? It's a cool thing, isn't it? Like, I don't know how it was for a lot of you guys. It's probably a little bit different for some of you who are younger, because it has existed with a name, right? Until I found it on ASMR in my 40s, I thought I was the only person. You know what I mean? I just thought it was a weird bit of, because I knew that I was neurologically maybe unusual, and I just assumed that was part of the package. But so it's, clearly a different thing now. It's much, we all know about each other, right? And we can even, discover more and cool triggers and better ways of presenting it. And, it's very groovy. I'm very happy it exists. The only thing I think that I am a little disappointed with is that it's gotten to be so big that I feel like it's, like back in the day, I felt like it was, I'm going to use this analogy or whatever. It's like going to a lake with a bunch of friends, you know what I mean? Where some people are camping and some people are over in the cabin over there or whatever, right? But we're all over by the lake, right? And now it's like an ocean, so it's, yeah, it's just so much bigger now that it's very different. Yeah. Right on. Watch some movies, play some games, yeah. do some relaxing things, man, you know? Okay, so you had no idea. Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, I mean, things have, yeah, well, things evolve, right? Things evolve, right? The good or the bad of it is, you know, well, you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? You know? Yeah, things are different when you have access to a comment thing, right? You know? Um, yeah, I think it, well, obviously the YouTube algorithm likes us all to be commenting on whatever, but you know, it does make for better communications, Rob, you know? So yeah, I think it's better when we have that on, right? So what do we have here going? And okay, so Andrew's asking, Bill, are you or were you a math teacher? Um, hmm, kind of is I guess the short answer. I'll give you the long answer. Um, I kind of became a math major sort of in an odd way. Um, so this is going to be kind of a long story, so I'll have to come back and catch up on the comments. I might have told part of this story before, and I'm not going to use anybody's name, which you'll figure out why in a moment. Okay, so yeah, I've always been a pretty smart guy, you know, maybe even arrogantly, you know, proclaiming that all too often. But anyway, so this is back in, I guess, the late 80s. Um, and a friend of mine who was also a musician, he was a guy, I didn't play in a band with him, but the band I was in and the band he was in, we played gigs at the same bars and stuff a lot. Um, anyway, he was a math major going to San Diego State. And he was taking a geometry class, and it was like an upper division geometry class, not just, you know, like the basic stuff, right? But okay, so this teacher was very into the fact that geometry is an axiomatic system. Well, all math is an axiomatic system, but, you know, emphasizing that, right? Because a lot of math classes, they, you know, you learn how to do things, but you don't really write proofs and read proofs, right? And anyway, so that's, you know, geometry's, well, that's kind of what you do a lot of times in geometry. Anyway, for part of the semester, they were not using the typical axioms that we're all used to, that would, you know, give you the mathematical system that you and I know and, you know, love and all of that. He just chose some arbitrary axioms so that they were building, you know, a geometry that it was just its own arbitrary geometry. Um, Basically, just to teach them how to deal with, you know, what, you know, the impact of what axioms do and all of that. Um, Anyway, so there was a series of proofs that they had to do. That was their assignments for the course of the semester, and of course there were other things that they needed to do, you know. Um, but along this list of the proofs was one problem, and the teacher said, "Okay, and there's this one here. If anybody can do this proof, I will give them an A. You can, I'll just give you the A, and you don't even have to show up for the rest of the semester. If you can do this one proof, I'll give you an A in this class." The idea, I guess, he was trying to imply that it was a really hard proof. Um, anyway, my friend was hell bent on trying to do it, right? You know, because he felt like the gauntlet had been thrown down. Um, anyway, so he got really kind of obsessed with it. Anyway, he came over to my house. He said, "Hey, let me, you know, just run some stuff by you. You're a smart guy, and, you know, blah blah blah." And I, you know, and I, well, anyway, I'll just keep going. I don't want to blow my own horn too much. Well, this whole story is about me blowing my own horn, really. Um, Anyway, so we were, you know, he was talking me through what he was trying to do, what his strategy was, and I was kind of, "Oh, I see what you're trying to do there, but yeah, I see that's not working there, blah blah blah." So we were, you know, anyway, I said, "Hey, would you mind leaving a copy of those axioms with me? I'd kind of like to roll it around in my head and see what I could think of." He said, "Yeah, sure. If you get any, you know, kind of cool ideas, or you think of something that might be a good direction for me, then, you know, whatever." Anyway, I did it. I actually solved the thing and wrote the proof. And I called him like it was a day or two later. And I was like, "Dude, I did it." And he's like, "What?" "I did the proof." And he's like, "What?" Anyway, so he came over and we went over it. So, because, so he could actually write it down and have it make sense in his own words, right? Because he has to present the proof, right? To his teacher, write it down, here you go, hand it in. And so he handed it in, and the teacher got back to him and says, I want you to do this for the class, like up in front on the blackboard kind of thing, because this is a really, really good proof. You need to do this in front of the class. This is a real blah, blah, blah. He was really impressed with it. And he was like, you should pursue, this is the kind of math you should be doing if you wrote that proof, blah, blah. Well, he didn't say if you wrote that proof as if he was doubting him writing it, but saying, this is where you need to be mathematically, was basically what he was saying. And anyway, so we had to do the thing in front of the class. Well, when he and I went over it, he went over it with me well enough for him to write it down to hand it in, not well enough for him to motivate it. You know what I'm saying? So he's up there doing his best to go through the proof. The good news for him was the teacher was really excited about it and kept prompting him and figuring that he was just not doing the proof well in front of the class because he was nervous about being in front of the class, not realizing that my friend was, a musician that played in bands doing gigs like all the time. So being in front of people was not a big deal at all. Anyway, so after that, I kind of went, maybe I should, look into this. And then shortly after that, the same friend, he worked at the community college that was called Grossmont Community College in El Cajon, which is kind of right next to San Diego. So he was attending San Diego State, but he worked at the community college in the tutoring center. Anyway, I had taken a logic course at that same school. And so I became the logic tutor because they needed one. And he said, hey, you did that proof, you should. And I went and talked to the guy whose course I took, because you had to get a teacher to sign off before you could tutor. So just to make sure that you actually knew what you were talking about. So that kind of started my career in the school in that direction. And so then I took the calculus sequence, and then, now we're off and running, there you go. And so I started getting, I was a math tutor professionally for a long time. And for a while I got to do what was called group tutoring. So I wasn't really teaching, I wasn't coming up with material, but I was going over material for people in a group setting. I never really had more than, say, 10 or 15, maybe 10 people, let's just say 10 people. I don't think it ever got bigger than that. And then when I worked I went to San Francisco State for myself when I finally moved up here and decided I was going to do a bachelor's, which I did the coursework, but whatever, it's a long story. I don't actually have the BA. Although I could go back to San Francisco State and they would probably proffer it on me, anyway, so yeah, that's so I did sort of kind of teach, kind of not teach, yeah, I don't know. There you go. So there's kind of a brief aspect of how Bill, got into mathematics and became a math tutor. Anyways, let me get back to the comments now. I hope, Nasal Penny, I hope, if you ever watch this again, I wish you a good night. And thank you for your kind wish. Jordan says, ASMR is largely misunderstood with what I have seen because most people think it's weird as they don't understand what. Yeah, and there's lots of people who don't get it automatically assume that it's sexual. And I'm sure for some people it is, and they're, whatever, that's fine. Whatever, do what you need to do to make you happy. But they just don't get it, right? You know what I mean? And that's fine. I mean, if you can't experience a thing, then it's not going to make sense to you. I can understand that. Yeah, but you're right. It's largely misunderstood. Yeah, who knows? I don't know whether anybody's really doing any serious academic research into it, or approaching it from like a neurological perspective or something like that. I'd be curious, if somebody was pursuing that. It would be really cool if somebody who had ASMR actually went into that field of study, because they would have the perspective of, being somebody who experienced it, right? Anyway, all right, let's get back on to, Jonathan says, thoughts on string theory and higher dimensions. I'm not going to speak on string theory because I feel like I'm too ignorant to. I would say go find, I don't know, does Sabine Hausenfelder have a video on string theory? I imagine she does. But higher dimensions, okay, as a mathematician, because dimensions in a mathematician, we just treat them abstractly, right? You know what I mean? So you could do math in as many dimensions as you want, So in that aspect, I'm fine with higher dimensions. And of course, imagining it is like, well, we don't really imagine it, do we? Right? Because it's, you know, a right angle to what's already existing. Where a right angle to where, you know, because that's how we tend to do it, right? You have, you know, there's this here, and you have a right angle there, and then you have a right angle there, right? You know what I mean? So where's the other right angle going to go? And I'm sure if you've seen, you can get the tesseract, right, which is the three-dimensional shadow of a fourth-dimensional cube. You know, there's all kind of interesting things like that. Yeah, and of course you can, you know, whatever. But yeah, it's my understanding that yeah, there's other physical models, again, that I'm, you know, probably too. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Just saying that they exist because, you know, otherwise I'd probably misstate things and give people bad information. I don't want to do that. But yeah, there's a lot of aspects of physics where it leads people into the possibility of higher dimensions. To me, it makes absolute sense that would be the case. But you know, I'm a weirdo, so you know, who knows. That's a wild story thing. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, you know, it's another aspect of Bill's oddball life. You know, I'm wondering, I should. How many of you are here who were here for the first stream? Are any of you still around? Because in the first stream, I was doing a little bit about my life history or whatnot, and I don't know, maybe I would babble on about some of that nonsense. And I think I got to as far as me being married and playing in bands in my 20s. And here we go. So. Kill Switch says, in the Stephen King movie, The Langoliers, the villain tears paper in. Oh, interesting. Okay, I haven't seen that movie, but you know, I know that there's other people that you know, do those videos where they do you know, accidental ASMR videos, right, where they cobble together compilations. All right, Mulligan, and Jonathan's there, and. Okay, and Sir Eggplant was kind of there. Well, okay, so I'm not going to go back to the beginning on my life story, since there's a couple of you guys here. That just seems silly to, you know. Oh, what instrument do I play? I play guitar. Well, I play guitar. That's my main instrument, and that's the thing that I will say I'm good at. I can dabble on keyboard enough to like do support of my playing guitar. I can rattle around on percussion. I mean, percussion is such a rudimentary. And the last thing, or one of my videos, I made a comment about anybody can play drums, but maybe not well. And that's kind of, everybody makes fun of drummers in bands. You know what I mean? That's just a thing. But the truth is, percussion, in a sense, in an immediate sense, is easy because anybody can bang on anything. Similarly, piano is easy to play. Like I could go play a note. You just go push a key, right? But getting good at the instrument requires you to actually, you know, learn some stuff. And I can half-assedly, you know, again, make stuff that is in support of my playing guitar. Really, that's what it is. Like if you go look at my music channel, Three Monks in a Tub, there's stuff on there that isn't, you know, just guitar, but it's all being done in support of my playing guitar, basically. Oh, you know what? Here I have this here to hide all my nonsense back there. But here, I'll show off the baby. I showed her off before. Here's the Ricky. It's my Rickenbacker from the 70s. Honest to goodness, USA made Rickenbacker. I think it's a fantastic guitar. Yeah, these are the, you know, if I had money, I'd have multiple of these just because I love them. This is, yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard the story of why the pick guards. If not, I've told it in other videos. It's right now it's wired, no switches, no knobs, whatever. Everything's like from the pickup straight to the jack. So it's like everything on 10, right? So it forces me to do everything with my right hand. And I did it as just as a forced thing, but I had to because of money. But I came to like it, so you know, that's that. But yeah, this is my guitar. I have another one too, but I'll just leave it at that for this because it's on the. You can go watch the Gear Show and Tell to see more details about that. But yeah, there's my Rickenbacker. Okay, let's see what we got over here. Okay, I like the disruption that every dimension is the previous dimension stacked on top of the other. Like, yeah, but here's the thing, Jordan, I want to caution you with, because remember that these things that we're talking about are us describing phenomenon. You know what I mean? So there's the rub, isn't it? Is it that the universe is really 3D or multiple dimensions and that we're in subsets of, or is it that a construct that is because of the way we perceive the world? You dig what I'm saying? It becomes very difficult to answer those types of questions. Um, but yeah, but the point well taken. Yes, that's part of the beauty of math, isn't it? That it hangs together so well. Like, who is it that does the thing about the unreasonable effectiveness of math or something like that? Was that Feynman or somebody like that? Man, it bugs me when I can't remember stuff like that. Um, yeah, drummers are underrated musicians as well as bass. Yes, you're absolutely right. Here's the thing. Back in the day, I'm sure it's still maybe true, maybe not. I don't know, but back in the day, um, like different people had different. Like if you're a singer, you had one point of view. If you're a guitar, you had another point of view. Blah blah blah. Guitarists, especially if you're a lead guitarist, which I was or I am, I guess. Um, there is a certain arrogance that goes along with doing that. You know what I mean? I think if you're going to be any good at it, I think a lot of us, we're just guilty of it. It's just part of our makeup. You know what I mean? Some of us try to go, hey, I need to step back from that, um, but okay. But like, so the joke is, singers are people who aren't really musicians. They're just there because they want to get laid and they're cute, right? Okay. Bass players are frustrated guitarists, and drummers, well, they usually have the truck. You know what I mean? They can carry the equipment. You know what I mean? There's all these jokes about um, whatever. But yeah, drummers are, well, here, just as a good example, it's super popular and accessible to everybody. Like Led Zeppelin. I'm sure enough of you still have an idea about who Led Zeppelin is, right? Um, Part of the why that Led Zeppelin works, in my opinion, isn't just that John Bonham was a fantastic drummer, or John Paul Jones is a fantastic bass player, or that Robert Plant actually is a good singer, and of course Jimmy Page is, a producer and guitar player wizard, right? Um, but if you'll listen to it, right, go dig this and check this out. Listen and think about how it is that Jimmy Page and John Bonham are linking up, right? Most people tend to think of like, oh, the rhythm section is the bass and drums, which sometimes occurs. But there's a lot of times that in Led Zeppelin, it's Page and Bonham, right? And that John Paul Jones is doing a different thing. You dig what I'm saying? They're a very sophisticated band. Musically, they're very, very sophisticated. But you're right. A lot of people don't, because Page is up there up front playing fantastic solos and stuff, right? And all of his interesting chords and all these things that are, and his riffs, right? Especially in the first couple of records, his riffs are insane. And that's very intention getting. But there's a lot of stuff that links up between him and Bonham, and then the way John Paul Jones. John Paul Jones is a fantastic musician. I think a lot of people don't realize exactly how good that guy is. Go back and dig some, and really pay attention in that regard. And also dig stuff like Physical Graffiti and his keyboard work, right? He's top notch, man. He's absolutely top notch. I mean, I don't know if I'd put him quite up as good as somebody like Rick Wakeman, you know what I mean? But he's tickling that shelf, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, let me get on to here we go. Okay, so Milligan says you play guitar and use the snare drum and Highland pipes. Right on, man. Yeah, so you get what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Kill switch. Thanks, man. Glad you dig it. Okay, you're probably right, Mulligan. I think you're probably right. But yeah, that's yeah. Anyway, you dig what I'm saying, bro. Kill switch says I don't know much about the techniques of music, but I like the Tool drummer. Yeah, I never really got that into Tool. You know what I mean? I don't know why. I need to maybe revisit them, because several people recently have said, dude, you should dig them. And it's like, yeah, I think they kind of went by me. So I'll have to go revisit that and see what's up. See, here's the problem. There's just so much music on the planet, isn't there? Yeah. And just like to think about, outside of, our thing, like I know barely anything about stuff that isn't, consumable in the the modern West, I guess people would often say. You know, yeah, I mean, I do expose myself to things, but every time I do, I'm aware of the fact that I'm wildly ignorant. You know what I mean? But like Indian music or anything from anywhere near the Indian subcontinent, or what was it? Brian Jones was the one that did the Jojuka guys out of Morocco, right? And of course, who's the guy? Usul Ndur that worked with Peter Gabriel, and of course, there's lots of bands like, oh man, I can't think. There's a guy. What's his name? Oh well, it doesn't matter. I'm just betraying my ignorance, just making my point, right? Okay. Andrew says, LOL, I was just going to mention that. Yeah, see, Zepp, right? You know what I'm saying, bro? And Walter Becker, right? Okay, yeah. Yo, Jameson Jones, I guess, there you go. So Eggplant says, I've always said Tool is just jazz for me. Now that you say that, now I'm really going to have to go back because I'd never caught that off them. You know what I mean? So maybe I've clearly missed something. Well, no, not maybe. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I just jerked my head too fast. Yeah, okay, I'm going to have to go revisit them with that. I mean, now that you say that, it gives me a because, jazz, for a while I thought I was going to do jazz as a musician. But then I realized I have a weird head and I need to not be constrained by anything that would be, as formal as that. But I did take a course in jazz theory of improvisation, which was basically taught by this lady, Sue Mascarella from Cal Berkeley at Diablo Valley College is where I went. They borrowed Sue from UC. It's a long story is how she got there, but it was a very cool class. But the way she taught the class was she'd bring in charts from standards and pass it out, make sure that everybody could read it as far as like the because it was dittos, right? This is back in the day we were still using dittos, right? And not only make sure that it was clear, but that we all understood the chords that were in front, because there would be be the whole thing would be a head, right? You know what I mean? And then the whole there you go. And she taught the class from the standpoint of bebop, right? So she'd pass out the head and she'd go, does everybody get it? We all know where we're at. And 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. You know what I mean? And we go. And I had no experience playing jazz before that class. And I don't know that I was good at playing jazz after that class, but I had an understanding of it. Because she just threw us in the deep end, man. Like we were playing Nutty and stuff like that, what's the, oh man, I can't think of what it is. Straight No Chaser, we did that one. We did Blue Monk. I would have to go, I think I still even have a folder with a bunch of those charts in it somewhere. Anyway, that's all I can remember off the top of my head. But anyway, talking about music, Whiplash is one of the greatest movies I'll ever watch. You have to remind me about Whiplash. The name tickles a thing, but I couldn't tell you what it is about, so I don't think I've seen it. Randy Rhoads was a pretty influential guitarist. He was, I don't think he had quite the same charisma as Van Halen, but I think he had every bit of chop as Van Halen. You know what I mean? At that time. But Van Halen just had a particular way of presenting himself and doing what he did. You know what I mean? I have to, but yeah, Randy Rhoads was a guy. He was a mofo. Absolutely. Killswitch says, Tool goes into lots of dimensional third eye type stuff. I have way too much jazz musicians to listen to before anything new. All right, okay, right on. Even Bright says, hello, I've been watching your vids. Right on, glad you've been watching for a while, man. I'm glad you're still around. That's fantastic. Jonathan says, Sammy, hey, he's a California boy. I think he's actually a Bay Area boy. He used to play a lot when I was coming up as a youngster. He was quite the thing around here. What's the one, Red, right? That song Red, green ain't mean compared to red, right? You know what I mean? That was a thing here when I was a teenager, before we moved to San Diego. Okay, so Jameson Jones doesn't dig Tool. All right, well, I'm gonna have to dig him to find out for myself, man. But everybody's got their, their take on things. Evander Holyfield's Late Night Bill. Yeah, that's me. um, okay, so in short, Whiplash is just the story of a frustrated jazz drummer. Okay, I'm going to have to dig it then just because. Have you seen Round Midnight, right? That was about a jazz sax guy who went to France, right? I like those kind of semi-fictional biopic things that show a slice of life of the struggle of artists. You know what I mean? I like watching those types of things. Um, I don't know the album you're talking about with Buddy Rich, but Buddy Rich is fantastic, right? He's a monster, right? For the stuff he was doing, like him, Gene Krupa, those guys, man, fantastic, absolutely fantastic stuff. Yeah, the first time anybody hears Eruption, Mulligan, man, isn't that crazy? I remember I was like, let's see, their first album came out in what, 77, I think. So I think I was in 7th grade. I think that's right. But I was just a teenage kid anyway, 7th or 8th grade, I think. So like 12 or 13. And the first time I heard that, I was just like, wow. It was, because here's the thing, it really impressed me, and it really impressed me that it impressed me, because I was already a Hendrix fan, you know what I mean? And so I thought Hendrix was the pinnacle of things. Now, I don't know that I'm going to say that Van Halen is better than Hendrix, because after you get to a certain level, there is no better than, you know what I mean? Who's better, Van Halen or David Gilmour? They're so different, right? You know what I mean? What's the guy? Randy Rhoads or B.B. King, right? You know what I mean? It's a difficult thing when you get to that thing. Anyway, Sonny Rollins. Yeah, Sonny Rollins is fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Good hanging with you, Evander. Well, I'm glad I was able to give you any kind of benefit, man. You know what I mean? Right on, man. That's groovy. I'm glad. It was, it was nice having you around, man. Chiming in and giving your thoughts so that I might appreciate them. That's groovy, man. Thank you. He mentioned him before. Oh yeah, you did. Yeah. All right, I'll absolutely have to check him out. I saw a guy. I don't know that it would be this guy, but it just makes me think. Man, what was it? I saw a guy do a jazz guitar thing, and I don't remember which piece it was now, but he was doing an old standard, and he was doing the deal where he was running the bass lines and the chords and dropping in the melody his own self. You know what I mean? I like guys. I can't do that. You know what I mean? I'm more of a linear sort of guy, like yeah, that's just where my brain goes. So I probably have more in common with David Gilmour than a lot of other people as far as like the way I think about melody stuff. Although man, I get influenced by a lot of people. Maybe it's just Gilmour's in my head right now. But I'm more of a this where a guitar solo is mostly a line. I mean, you do double stops and stuff like that, but when I took that jazz class I was talking about, Sue recognized that was my thinking when I was doing my solos, and so she gave me the advice of, yeah, you're good, I can tell you've got fingers, you know what I mean, but she's the one that gave me the advice of to play with my breath, you know what I mean, like horn players phrase well because they have to, you know what I mean, they only have so much in their lungs. If they have a thing, they got to get it out, right? And guitarists and she said keyboardists do the same thing, like, so that's why she was kind of coming at me from a fair place, right? I'd say, man, it'll help you learn to phrase, and she's absolutely right. It was a good thing for me to have done. Yeah. Anyway, so what we got here? Yeah, Frank Zappa's fantastic. I think I have some similarity in my solo style to his solo style as well sometimes, and I like his composition. You know what I mean? His mind for composition is he's a singular guy, you know what I mean? His ability to do what he did is just fantastic. The only downside to Frank is he's a curmudgeon, or was a curmudgeon, you know what I mean? It's just there were times I'd see him do interviews, and I was like, dude, did you ever have any happy days? You know what I mean? He just always seemed to be so angry at everybody all the time, at least when I saw interviews. I suspect it was probably just because he didn't really want to be doing the interviews, frankly. But he's also, I've heard stories about how he could be a pretty unforgiving taskmaster about what he expected from his musicians. Like he expected you were there to be, well, he had high expectations. That's what it was, But the thing is, he was clear about it, right? You can't say he surprised you with the expectation. Um, and there's a guy that was a part of the San Diego scene. I didn't know him that well. Mike Keneally. He played with Zappa for a while. And actually, he's good friends with another good friend of mine, so I guess we have mutual friends. A guy named Marcelo Radulovic, who's a San Diego guy. You could check out he's got a YouTube channel called Titicaca Man, after the lake down in South America. He was born in Chile, grew up in Costa Rica, and then he moved to Fresno. Talk about culture shock, man. Crazy. Anyway. Okay, so he's saying that changed the left of mark on music. Hendrix is a good example. Yeah, Hendrix absolutely. The world of guitar would not be what the world of guitar is without Hendrix. Um, and similarly, Van Halen, probably to a lesser degree as far as a big change all of a sudden, but more of an insidious change. The way Van Halen did, because of the way that the way that the tone, because that was his thing, was his tone, right? At least he was obsessed with his tone, and yeah, yeah. But yeah, super impactful. That's a good thing. I mean, it's like BB King, super impactful, right? Yeah. Anyway, um, I don't know the Beach Boys album Friends. Um, they never really did much for me except for the stuff. What is that? Pet Sounds. That's the one that has. Oh, I can't. It's what's the song I'm trying to think of? I can't think of the hook in it. I mean, well, whatever. I think "Wouldn't It Be Nice" is on there and stuff like that. But the thing I'm remembering for my emotional impact of the memory is that Johnson's or Wilson, that's his name, Brian Wilson. Excuse me, Brian Johnson. Wait, that's a different guy. Duh. His knowledge and the way he used harmony is just brilliant. I mean, especially putting it in popular music the way that he did, just absolutely brilliant. Yeah, 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 yeah. Round, round, get around, I get around. Right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's. Give me a sec. I mean, I just have to do this because my brain. It's bothering me that my brain is not letting me remember this thing. Here we go. Da, 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 da. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, track list. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? You still believe in me? What's the one I'm really trying to think of? God only knows. That's the one. That is absolutely crazy good. That is absolutely crazy good. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Harmony, right? Isn't that the thing, man? They just, I mean, like, yeah, they were doing some really, really groovy stuff with harmony. Really fantastic. Loki, good morning. Guten Morgen. Ich spreche nur ein bisschen Deutsch, which is really sad because, let's see, I took 1 year of it in junior high. I took, I took 3 years of it in high school and 2 semesters in college, and I can barely remember anything. Holy mackerel. It's pretty sad, isn't it? When I spent some time in the Netherlands, I felt really, I don't know, it bothered me that I didn't speak multiple languages because like everybody else there did. You know what I mean? It's like, it just seems like the standard thing that a lot of Europeans speak multiple languages. Like almost everybody speaks English, which part of the reason I got along so well in the Netherlands is because I didn't really have to learn how to speak Dutch, right? Um, uh, let's see, let me say that. Es geht gut, I guess. Und Sie? Or should I say Ihnen? I'm going to say Z. I'm going to assume. Yeah. Man, see, you're stumping me already, man. Just with how are you? Man. I'm going to have to, I'm going to make a point of trying to get out something. Maybe I have an old, I know I have at least one of my old German texts. I'm sure if I could, 'cause, well, pronunciation is pronunciation, right? I mean, if you can get it, you can get it, I think, right? I mean, and I think German makes sense as a language to me. I mean, like, pronunciation is consistent. You guys aren't as screwed up as we are in English. I mean, your language actually makes sense. I mean, there's some aspects about it that are difficult to get your head around if you're an English speaker, but I don't think it would be too hard for me to get up to speed if I put in some effort. You know what I mean? I think maybe I should do that. Maybe I could incorporate some bilingualism, knowing that I have some, German fans, which I've known before. I can see the back end on YouTube, but I guess just dealing with you directly kind of, is a spur in my butt and I should respond. Yeah. So, yeah, more things for more, fuel for more videos, right? That might be a thing I might do. How, I think I might try to find my German text and just try to read German. I mean, or maybe I'll go to Project Gutenberg, which is, the all public domain, literature stuff that they can get their hands on and re-put out. I imagine they'd have some stuff that would be German text that I could get hold of and read. Maybe I'll try to find some like Grimm's fairy tale stuff and read that in German, right? Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'm getting too ambitious, but okay, right on. Right on. Right on. Glad I could put a smile on your face, man. I'll try to brush up so that, if you come back for future, well, here you go. Here's the thing. Your call to action is come back into future streams when I do it next month and hold me to task and see if I can actually say something, better in German than I said before. Um, oh, Heidegger. Yeah. That would be a good thing to read, wouldn't it? Yeah. Or, um, Schopenhauer. Every once in a while I get really fascinated with Schopenhauer. I normally get, kind of bored with philosophers, but every once in a while I'll come across some stuff of his and I'll kind of get, yeah, something about him interests me at times. Um, right on, thank you, right on. Okay, live stream, that's an exciting age of technology. Yeah, isn't it, Um, I was talking about that earlier today with my sister because it came up. Because like I've mentioned before, I have a friend in the UK, and I spent this morning a little bit, and I will tomorrow morning before I do the other live stream. I quite often, frequently speak to them as a family. I mean, it's such a cool thing because I never met my friend's wife in person because he's been married and had a child since I was there. Um, so my only means of actually knowing either of them is online, at least until I can, figure out some way of having access to enough money that I can, get over to the UK again. Um, right on. Pessimism, yeah, yeah. So, doing some German would be fun, I think, yeah. Hang on, my mouth's getting dry. I need to get a little tea. Okay, so Loki, you're in Deutschland. Um, where's everybody else from right now? I'm just trying to get an idea of where are you at, and then what is your time frame right now? Let's see, how many of us are there here? Oh, there's only 7 of us now. Yeah, you guys could all fit that in there. So where are you at? And then and like that, and your time, just because I don't want to have to do the mental math to figure out, time zones. I'm just curious as to see, who's where what. Like, is everybody here in the U.S.? Oh, well, except for Loki, or is it, Okay, Toronto, right on. wait, hang on. And 4 a.m. Wow, you're up late. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, man. That's fantastic. Okay, New York, right on. Alberta, Canada, 2 a.m. Okay. So you're just an hour ahead of us then. Okay. Michigan's 4 a.m. Right. Wow, okay. I thought, okay. I don't know why I was thinking Michigan was only 2 hours ahead of us instead of 3. But okay, I guess, yeah, whatever. See, there's a thing. I don't want time zones and whatever. I mean, they're arbitrary, so whatever, as long as they work for whoever's there. But yeah. Okay, so, uh, yeah, okay, a decent spread of folk over a certain geographical region, yeah. North Dakota, right on. What's the weather like up in all of your regions, up in the north there, Canada, North Dakota? Are you guys getting unseasonably warm this year? For some reason, I'm thinking that that's the case, but maybe I'm remembering that wrong. And has anybody's weather been affected much at all by Lee at all? You know what I mean? I'm wondering how far the effects of that reach, just out of curiosity. And how's the weather in Deutschland? Fires, okay. Man, yeah, wildfires. I mean, I know to a certain extent wildfires are in fact a necessary thing. You know what I mean? 'Cause, especially like, I'm sure it's other places too, but there's certain pine trees here in California that they only open their cones when they've been hit by a certain heat. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Because, man, see, wow. Were you getting real bad, like your eyes were stinging and that kind of mess like that? Because I hate when that gets like that. You know what I mean? It's just becomes really uncomfortable and whatnot. Yeah. Yikes. That's a big switch, man. Yeah. That's I don't know how you guys see. When it comes to weather, I'm a California pussy, right? I mean, there are places that up in the mountains that get cold. Obviously, we have the Sierras, but sorry, I didn't mean to clip like that. Um, but I've always lived like the Bay Area or San Diego, right? Which is pretty mild climate compared to other places. It's really hard to complain about it, frankly. Of course, I'll still find the capacity to complain. So. Yeah, see, man, when the fog, the smog, I guess, really, isn't it, right? Um, okay, so it says it got so bad the indoors. Oh, right, when yeah, it's bad if they say stay indoors, right? Yikes. Well, I hate to say not to ride a bike, Jonathan, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a fan of, getting around on your feet or your bike or whatever. Um, but yeah, man, that's a rough one, isn't it? That's a rough one, especially if it's hurting you that bad. That's just not good. That's just not good. And it's hard for me not to assign some of the increase of these things, for global warming. You know what I mean? Um, and that's kind of what it seems to me. But maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. All right, so 48. Um, what is that? So 9/5 plus 32, right? What is that? So 50, so 10, so 90. Wow, so that's hot. That's super, super hot. Yikes. Oh, sorry, I'm getting a little. The day is showing on me, isn't it? You know. Yeah, you're right, Jonathan. We need, and it's like I don't know. All right, so you guys know, or maybe you know, or hopefully you know, I'm big on this idea of agape, right? The compassion for humans, and there are certain groups of humans that just absolutely tax my capacity for compassion, and among those are the uber rich, especially those who are in petroleum and stuff. It's like they're literally killing us for their wealth. You know what I mean? I don't see how that cannot. How is that not a criminal thing? Maybe I'm just too much of a weird hippie ears, but it's like, look at what they're doing to us, man. And we've known about it for a long. They've known about it for a long time. You know what I mean? Um, anyway, I don't want to get on a downer. Let's not be on a downer, okay? Let's see if we can find a. Let's see if we can tie that up and then move on to some groovy stuff. Okay, so is there any special place in the world that you would like to live at? Oh man, see, that's a good one. All right, yeah. If I had sufficient access to money so that I didn't really have to worry about where I was, um, I would keep a place here in California, probably in San Francisco. I would keep a place in the UK, probably South Sea, and I would keep a place in Puerto Rico, in San Juan. That's what that. There's the thing that's just because of places I've been so far. Um, Although, man, hmm, I'd like to have a place in the Netherlands too, though. But if I was in South Sea, it would be easy to pop over to the Netherlands, wouldn't it? Um, hmm, But like, I've not been to Africa, and the only place in South America I've been is Cartagena in Colombia because I went on a cruise. That was crazy, wow, it was just for a day. But, well, here, I'll tell you a crazy story. So I'm on this cruise ship going, it was a repositioning cruise from San Francisco down the coast, through the Panama Canal, and then up to San Juan, Puerto Rico. And its first stop on the other side of the Panama Canal was Cartagena. And we just spent a day there. And when I get into the bigger cities on these types of trips, um, I don't tend to do a lot of touristy stuff just because I get burned out. I'm already hanging out with these people on the boat. It's fine. It's okay. But it's like I want to go, do a thing that I want to do, and I tend to be not in the same mindset as a lot of other people. So what I tend to do is go find a cabbie and hire him to just drive me around for the day. You know what I mean? Um, and just kind of wing it. Maybe take their advice. It's a good time for me anyway. Anyway, so that's what I did there. Um, the cool thing was that he kept taking me around to all these jewelry shops, because here's the deal. If he takes me there, if I buy something, he gets a kickback, but he gets a kickback just for bringing me, right? It's smaller, but it's more if I buy anything. I was like, dude, I'm not going to buy anything. He goes, no, just go. I get something for you just for bringing you. And so he was getting a little bit of something from them just for bringing me. And they they were putting out free margaritas. So all I had to do was show up and let them show me some really expensive jewelry, and then I drink their free margaritas, and I go, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm still looking around, right? You just play that game. And then anyway, the other thing he did, which really kind of started to get on my nerves, and I had to tell him to just quit it, is he kept on giving me this sell on this brothel that he knew about, and the hard sell was that I could have 13-year-old girls. And I'm like, dude, I'm not buying that. I'm not doing that. I'm not interested in that. Just leave it. You know what I mean? And he finally got the message, but it was just like, which it just implies to me that there's enough, you know, guys from places like the U.S. that show up that that's what they want. You know what I mean? And I just, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's just anyway. I ended up back on the negative thing. I don't want to do that. But anyway. Ashley Williams says, Bill, I'm so glad you're making content again. Well, thank you. Okay, MSE 3700 says, I really enjoyed some of your early eclectic videos like the radio host roleplay and the train ride. Yeah, I do want to do more trippy stuff. I just need to get myself into the place to do that. You know what I mean? But yeah. It is going to be coming. now that I've kind of got a groove going, you know what I mean? Um, so I think I can do like the gameplays and kind of show and tell things pretty easily. Now I think I've got this room kind of set up and stuff so I can get a decent sound consistently, at least I hope. Um, you know, and then yeah, the other thing I want to try and do, this is going to be a ways off, but so here's shape of things to come. Yeah, I've been obviously trying to, or maybe not obviously, I've been trying to put more effort into my music so that I could put effort into my music channel, and along with those things is I've been acquiring some soft synths to use with the DAW, so I could record cool synth noises and stuff. And then the other day I was thinking, I might be able to make some cool trippy sounds that might be ASMR like, that would wouldn't be necessarily musical sounds, but would just be like more like sound design sounds. So I'm going to see if I can play with that a little bit. Who knows where that will lead, but anyway. Hey, you're from Australia. Wow, okay, so what time is it over there? And welcome, glad you're here, right on. Jonathan wants to go to Chile. That would be good, wouldn't it? Okay, Mr. Decomposer says, that insane, but it sounds like you have had many adventures in life. What stands out to you the most? Oh, okay, let's see that, because that's one of those things that's going to be a moving target, isn't it? So what stands out to me the most? I don't know. I mean, a lot of stuff's running through my mind. Um, okay, I don't know if, okay, so this, like I said, this is a moving target. It's going to have to do, it's like, if you ask me about like, what's my favorite Pink Floyd album, right? That's going to change from day to day, so this will be a similar one of those things. So I'll tell you what's in, that's in my head now that stands out the most is when I was in the UK the last time, um, my friend took me to see a place called Avesbury, which is another stone ring thing, kind of a little bit like Stonehenge, but if I remember properly, it actually predates Stonehenge and is a much bigger thing. And then also over to Silbury Hill. Did I say that right? I think maybe I goofed that up and confused the name of it with a different place. But anyway, I really, really dig that. Something about that it was just like, it just felt really good to be there. There was just something kind of primal about it that was just really, really groovy. And it's like the whole structure is so large. There's like part of the village is inside of it. You know what I mean? As far as like where these rings where they dug these like moats, I guess would be the best way of describing it in my mind right now. Anyway, that's what's standing out to me right now. So I use, right now I'm using Ardor, and I'm thinking it's what I'm going to keep using. I tried a bunch of them. I was really optimistic about wanting to use Reaper, but it just, I just had troubles with it, and I was just like, you know what? And then I just tried Ardor, and I'm liking it. I think it's what I'm going to stick with for a while anyway. Yeah, another vote for a life story series. Yeah, I think that's definitely that's a common request. So that's going to have to get put into the workflow. Again, that should be one I should be able to come up with relatively easily. You know what I mean? Like I might pick like, okay, I'll spend an hour of video and just do like from birth till 5, and then 5 till 10 or something like that, and see how much stuff I can come up with that makes sense. You're welcome, Lone Wanderer. 6 p.m. Okay, that's the world is a big place, and I love this name, Booby Scoopy Droopy Doo. What computer part deals with frames per second? Is that what you're trying to talk about? I'm not sure off the top of my head. I learned initially on a bootleg copy of Fruity Loops. I wish I had cash to get a license and get back to it again. Yeah. Oh, did I ever use X, formerly Twitter? Kind of, sort of, not really. I signed up and I made an account. My idea, well, okay, so I made the account after I decided I'm going to put more effort in my YouTube channel, because I'm thinking, okay, I need to use social media, right? That's kind of what needs to be done if you want to promote yourself and all this kind of thing. Um, and so I thought, okay, I should have a Twitter account as well as a TikTok and Instagram. And I left TikTok mostly because it kept telling me I didn't have an account. You know what I mean? And I was like, what are you talking about? So I kept having to redo an account, and it was ridiculous. I said, you know what, just screw it. I'm just not going to bother with it. Um, anyway, but Twitter, yeah, I don't. Yeah, it just doesn't suit me. You know what I mean? I guess maybe I'll have to figure out a way of leveraging it, because people they do use it, right? And I guess if I want to, if for nothing else than just to make announcements, you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I mean, is there any particular reason you bring that up? Is there, well, here's the thing, I'll make one point editorially. What is he thinking naming it X? That's just ridiculous, especially since Twitter was a well-established brand name. I mean, the whole Twitter tweet thing with the little bird, I mean, it was, and especially in this age, branding is like the thing, isn't it? And it's like, what is he doing? I have no idea what that guy thinks. Well, to me, he's a Bond villain, you know? But anyway. Uh, Grey Goose Gummy Bears says, wow, hello, it's so surreal seeing you live. Well, cool, I hope it's a positive surreal. And aloha. Wait, okay, wait, I'm missing people. So Jonathan says it's not worth it, the house is tax. Yeah, toxic, excuse me, not taxic. I can't even read English anymore. Um, uh, oh my, I never used MySpace, so I can't have any nostalgia for it really. But oh, I gotta get the Scooby Doo play thing, man. Yeah, it comes through. It comes through. I just love the rhythm of it, man. It just sounds so playful and groovy. I really, really dig it. And Random Moose Brains. Yeah, hello. How you doing, man? Hey, you say he needs to stick to engineering, but it's my understanding that the stuff that he never engineered any of that stuff. He came in and used money to leverage control over it. Like he had nothing to do with the design of the Tesla car. I don't think he really had anything to do with the design of SpaceX either. You know what I mean? I think he's just a guy who swoops in with money. Well, whatever. Maybe I'm just being a prick, but man, there you go. Um, okay, so NSE 3700 says the GPU determines the FPS, but the running application also controls it. Oh, I see. Were you talking about just how it gets set, or you talk? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. There, I guess that's the better answer, isn't it? There you go. Thank you for that. Mr. Decomposer says, what are your thoughts on the shape of the U.S. economy right now? Well, okay, so in the right now, as far as that, it seems like there's been some improvements as far as, jobs and this sort of thing. And I am pro rolling out of the Green New Deal stuff. We absolutely need to get on that. So those things are, I see those as positive things. But I don't know if you've seen my other channel or have seen any of the things where I mention it here, but I'm actually a left-wing screwball. I'm the ones that they're all, it's like the Democrats aren't left-wing. They're not clamoring for, dismantling capitalism. These are, center-right at best. Which, I don't mean to get mean like that, whatever. It's just me being bitter, I suppose. But they completely misunderstand what our goals are, anyway, I don't want to get into a big political discussion here. But I think, I think that the economy is certainly measurably better than it was under the previous president. So, I'll just leave that at that. Yeah, Zachary. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And it's my understanding, I never really dug too much into this, right? So I'm taking this off of other people's say so. But it's my understanding that part of his money is because of his father was kind of had his dirty hands into some like bad gems, like some emeralds and diamonds and stuff, like the kind of the blood diamond type nonsense. So again, I haven't dug into that to follow sources or anything, so I don't know how, whether that's really a thing or not. But it wouldn't surprise me. You know what I mean? It kind of fits, his the way I perceive him as a human. Anyway, so Random Moose Brain says, glad to pop into the stream, dig the videos from the code breaker to the radio plays. That and your dad's noir story. That was a good read. Cool, cool, cool. Did you actually check out the whole book, or did you just dig, you know, what I read? Can I? Oh, why are you having a lonely birthday? I guess I'll wish you a happy lonely birthday. How about a happy not lonely birthday? You can spend some time with us. I mean, I'll be here for a little while more. You know, I'll make a point of it. Yes, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Amelia. Happy birthday to you. I hope I didn't screw up your name. Hopefully it was good enough that you know, well, there you go. I tried. Guten Morgen. Loki, we have another one. So I guess it's Crean Kuber, or Kuber. Loki, if he's still here, he's also he's you know, in Germany or Deutschland. Oh, right on, dude. I'm glad I'll let my dad know. He'll be really pleased that you dug it. You know what I mean? I've been trying to, he's been talking about ideas for new stuff, but he's had so many other projects, you know, around the house, and there's also family issues come up just because, you know, families are families, right? But I've been trying to, you know, nag him to, dude, you need, because he's happier when he writes. He gets more enthusiastic about stuff, you know, and so I need him to be a happy man. Just, yeah, nobody wants your, yeah, anyway, so yeah, I'll let him know. That's a really groovy thing, man. Thanks for letting me know that. Oh, I'm happy to. I'm happy to give you the birthday thing, man. I hope it, you know, can give you a little bit of something, right? You know what I mean? That's fantastic. I'm glad you showed up. That's great. And, oh, greet from Sweden. You know, I don't know any Swedish. You know, I knew a dude back in the day when I lived in San Diego. He hung out with us in the band scene, although he wasn't in any of the bands, but he was also a musician. He played guitar, a little bit of keyboard like that. He's a really cool guy. But he was Swedish. Well, he was Swedish American. He was born here, but he had family still back there, and he would often go back to visit. And he played nyckelharpa, which is a weird thing. That's a strange instrument you guys got there. it's you know, it's cool, it's groovy, I dig it, but man, that's a weird thing. That is just straight up a weird thing, man. Anyway, okay, right on, man. I'll let him know. Thanks, Random Moose Brains. That's fantastic. Am I a cat or a dog person? I am actually both. I like cats because of, well, because sometimes I'm a curmudgeon. So sometimes cats, their independence is, you know, it's like, fine, yeah, screw you. You go lay over there, I'm going to lay over here. And sometimes that works for me. I don't actually personally keep dogs, and I've only had one cat, which it is no longer with us. But the rest of my family keeps dogs. So I live down in the converted garage basement area that I've turned into my live workspace because my dad's a generous man and lets me be here. But upstairs, there's 7 dogs that are upstairs. There's 2 pit bulls that were rescues. There's a lab mutt. She's a lot of lab, but I don't know what else is in her. There's another one who's a little bit of some kind of bull something. I don't know. He's a weird little mutt. So there's 4, and then there's a Chihuahua and another Chihuahua Terrier mix, and 2 of those little sort of Chihuahua Terrier type mix things. Is that all 7 of them? Yeah, I think, yeah, that's all 7 of them. Yeah, but I like playing with the dogs. Yeah, I just, for me, actually keeping an animal, a cat is more appropriate just because of my, weird curmudgeonly nature, and, we can, every once in a while we'd be nice to each other, and then we could just leave each other alone for a while. Okay, MSC 3700 says, I don't know if you've said where you live. Yes, I am in the Bay Area. I'm in Castro Valley. Do you know the Bay Area? I did used to live in San Francisco until I moved back here in 2017. But yeah, I've off and on. I've either lived here in the Bay Area or in the San Diego area. Um, I mean, with the exception of when I've been, kind of visiting other places here and there. But that's only ever been for like months at a time or whatever. I spent a couple of months in the UK in '85, and then I was in the Netherlands the first time. I think it was January of '93 till the 1st of April, end of March, something like that. And then a similar time frame, but in the summer of '98, and I stayed in Utrecht. And I'm sure I'm totally butchering the pronunciation of that because I haven't been there in a long time. But in Utrecht, in Netherlands, I lived on 23 Predikarenstraat, right near Hardballen, which it just amuses me because Predikaren is like a preacher, right? And Hardballen just amuses me. And it's right around from where the red light used to be in Utrecht, at least at that time. It was really short. It's like 2 blocks long, if that. But, whatever. Got to have some fun. Anyway, do I like Seattle? I've never been to Seattle. I dated a girl who was from that area for a while. But yeah, I've never been up there. I've never been in Oregon either. I've never been. I can't remember the place it is. There's a place a little bit north of, I don't know, about an hour north of Sacramento. It's about as far north as, well, I know Reno's probably north of that, right? Reno's probably about as far north as I've been in California anyway. Or, onto the other side from California into Nevada. Okay, let's see, where am I at here? Oh, wow, okay, you were at Goff and Ellis. Okay, I was on Golden Gate, just like literally doors up the hill from Divisadero. So, yeah, um, we might have been almost neighbors, man. Oh, well, thank you for that. For the Dumbledore comment, Amelia. That's fucking amazing. Yeah. You know what? I just noticed. Am I saying your name even close right? It's Am and then Mlla, right? Am I saying it even to? Well, I'm calling you Amelia. I hope that's not butchering it too badly. Yeah, San Francisco is good for the noir thing, right? I mean, it just fits that, well, because of its history, right? It has a rich and colorful history. Um, do you think we might have seen each other? I mean, I used to spend a fair amount of time up in Alamo Square, just sitting there, well, sitting there and drinking basically, but I'd sneak a little something in a bag, you know what I mean? Um, but I used to walk around a lot. I was out and around. I had the beard the whole time, so if you saw me, you would have seen me. You know what I'm saying? Um, oh yes, I love Vertigo, Jonathan. I like Hitchcock. And yeah, Vertigo. And I also have a crush on Kim Novak. Um, if you've ever seen what is it with Pyewack at Bell Book and Candle? Is that what it's called? Yeah, it's got to be Bell Book and Candle. Anyway, Kim Novak, I have quite a crush on her. Um, anyway, yeah, I like Hitchcock. I like that one. One of my all-time favorite movies for just fun and enjoyment is To Catch a Thief. That's absolutely fantastic, especially when Grace Kelly's leaning forward with that necklace, totally teasing Cary Grant. It's just like, oh my God! Again, I have a huge crush on her too. Um, I mean, yeah, he tended to cast really lovely women, didn't he? And it's my understanding that he was kind of a jerk about it too, in kind of a sexist manner. But he did make a good movie. Oh, and Rear Window. Now that's one, man. Like Raymond Burr delivers such a performance, and most of it's from across the way. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. That's such a well-made movie. It's just nuts. Hitchcock he knows how to make a movie. Except for Topaz. What was that? Anyway. Holy mac. I'm going to go get my other jar of iced tea out of my fridge. I shall be right back. Okay, here we go. What time is it getting to be? 1:30. You know, I have a little whiles left in me, so I'll hang out for a little while more. I'm probably going to regret it tomorrow, but you know what? That's what the ice gel thing is for, and that's what the recliner is for. And you know, I'd rather wear out my back hanging out with you guys than any number of other things that have worn out my back in the past. So let's have at it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, where are we at? Okay. Droopy Scooby Doo says, do you think that California should split their electoral votes between each county like Maine does, or do you think it should be majority of the? You know, here's the thing. I think maybe it should get divided up. Frankly, I'm a big fan of things being where the voting and the result of the voting should represent what actually the people voted for. You know what I mean? This idea that you can win the popular election in the United States for president, but you don't actually win the presidency because of the Electoral College and all this kind of crap. I think that's garbage. You know what I mean? I think that's just absolute garbage. Yeah, I don't like the Electoral College or the whole system of it, frankly. So whatever gets us into something that, well, again, yeah, there you go. There's my take on the thing. Yeah, I'm also I'm not a well, I don't want to get too much into politics. It's I like the idea of dismantling structures that are over that have to do with where it's more about power and less about actually accomplishing something. You know what I mean? Like I think federal governments are really best about setting standards and making sure distribution can happen. You dig what I'm saying? I think a lot more stuff. Well, it actually is the truth that stuff really happens local. You know what I mean? That's where the rubber hits the road. That's where the focus needs to be. It should be about people, right? And you can have policy and you can design policy on a national level as long as what we're talking about is standardizing a thing because it makes sense to do so over the territory that's being governed, I guess. But yeah, it's anyway. 39 steps is great. Yeah, Rope. Oh, Rope. That's a dark movie though, isn't it? Although there's the funny thing, right? It what's the cry in the beginning, right? Because the dude got choked. So how did he cry? Okay, when you guys say you agree, which part are you agreeing with? My babbling about politics or am I talking about Hitchcock? I'm so disorganized in the way I respond to you guys. It's crazy. It's like I feel like I've got, I mean, I know that I've kind of probably misresponded to a couple of people here and there and probably dropped a couple of threads just because, well, whatever. I'm a disorganized goofball, so, as long as we're having fun, right? Okay. Oh, all right, Zach. Right on. So you truly are multitasking. Right on. Yeah, these things are, yeah, I need to see if I can tweak them to fit better. Mm. 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 Hmm. Okay, well, then you need to go to bed, man. If you need to sleep, you need to sleep, man. Get that sleep. Aloha, sibling. I'll see you next time, man. How's everybody else doing? I think I'm going to hang for a little while more still, so. There's like 15 of us, so. Okay, so when I played in bands, let's see, let's start. Okay, initially it was just sort of post-punk kind of, I'm going to say kind of like XTC, but not really, but that kind of puts you in the ballpark. And that's kind of the first kind of band I played in that was actually a serious band that got gigs, whatever. Before that, what I did is I kind of guested with a few bands. In particular, one band, it was some friends of mine. They did this kind of 50s band, where they did a lot of 50s material. It was kind of big back then. This was a few years after the Stray Cats were really big, right? So a lot of people got very into that nostalgic thing, and so some friends of mine put together kind of a nostalgia 50s thing, and it was kind of a fun thing, right? This was actually my very first professional gig as a guitarist. So it was in San Diego, and I had just come down to San Diego from having finished that jazz class I spoke about. Did I talk about it in this stream, or was it the last stream? Anyway, so I was new, well, not new, I'd lived in San Diego before, but I was, back to San Diego, and I'd never actually had a pro gig at all. And this was like a tiny gig, so it was like, it's not a big deal, but it was the first time I got paid to play guitar. Anyway, so they were doing this thing, and they all dressed very 50s, like they had the whole pompadour thing, and kind of they all wore the same suit kind of thing, so they all kind of matched, and which actually took a fair amount of coordination because they were getting everything off of like thrift store shopping. So it wasn't a perfect match, but it was close enough that they kind of looked like that kind of 50s, where everybody matches kind of thing. And I kept my hair kind of short and spiky. Not exactly punkish, but kind of, more or less punkish, but whatever. I didn't really think of myself as a punk rocker as much as, I don't know. Anyway, if you saw me walking down the street, you probably thought I was a punk rocker. Anyway, so that was kind of my hairdo, but I wore this really sharp, again, thrift store suit, but looked very mod, like quadrophenia mod kind of thing, you know what I mean? So it was like we were separated by this, I guess you could have said Teddy Boys mod type of thing as far as the way our looks were, you know what I mean? So what it was is they would play songs, and they would about half the set would have songs in it that had guitar solos in them, and so I just sat in a chair on the stage off to the side, and then when the guitar solo came up, I would stand up, walk over to the center, play my solo, doot 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 doot, and then when I finished my solo, I'd go back and sit in the chair, and then the rest, you know what I mean? It was this cool little gimmick that I had with them for a minute. Anyway, that was the first time I did that, and that was so I did that, and then I did that a couple other times with a couple other folks, and so that was what my first kind of thing, getting into the San Diego scene as a guitarist, and I got a few people's attention, so it was all right, not that I'm some great guy, but it's good for my ego that people go, ooh, wow, look at that guy, Anyway, then I got into the band that was it was called Mr. Safari. Nobody's going to know anything about that, but. Anyway, and then after that, I played in a band called Playground Slap in San Diego, only for a very short period of time. And then those would be Playground Slap. Actually, some PD in San Diego might have heard of them, but yeah, I was only in that. They were a much longer lived band than I played with them. And then I just sort of buffeted around for a long time, and then that's when my life sort of started going into a weird direction. And it's just like. Anyway, I won't go into any more bands, but mostly sort of post. Playground Slap was it merged again out of the post-punk scene, but we basically turned into very, very funk influenced, but sort of a darker funk, not so much like the Chili Peppers or anything like that. A little bit more, I don't know, broody and kind of gritty, and but definitely funky. Definitely funky, and that was with that guy I'd mentioned before, Marcelo Radulovic. That was his band. He was the leader of the band. So that and then after that, I played in some weird, just craziness, like noise type bands. I did a project that didn't have a name with a friend of mine who now does sound design. I think he mostly does like gunshots and things like for Hollywood. He was a drummer who became a keyboardist he's a pretty brilliant guy with sound. And that was, I don't know what you would call that. That was a project that was just kind of weirdly psychedelic, kind of New Order-esque kind of thing. And then I started playing in some grunge bands, and and then everything just sort of spun out of control, and I drank way, 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 way too much, and things just didn't make sense. But anyway, anyways, let's get back to the comments. Okay, here we go. All right, Booby Scoopy Droopy Doo. I'll see you next time, man. Do I read comic books at all? I don't anymore. When I was a kid, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, and Thor were my big favorites. That was back in the 70s, of course. Um, no, I don't read comic books anymore. I've read a couple of, like, a guy I knew in college loaned me some stuff that was The Saint of Killers. It was a graphic novel thing, which was like really, I liked that a lot. Which I guess is a character that was in that TV show Preacher, which I think that Preacher was also part of a graphic novel thing too. I think was maybe by the same author, I would assume. I mean, I never really got that deep into that stuff. But when people have recommended stuff, and I've enjoyed it. But yeah, do I think there is intelligent aliens somewhere in space? I hope so. Right? You know what I mean? This is one of those crazy things, right? Because and people talk about the number of planets and what are the odds, and it's like, yeah, but see, we don't know all of the things to be able to do laying odds. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, that we're going to lay odds on things that we're so ridiculously ignorant about. But that's fine. Do whatever you'd like. Um, I do see the argument though that there's so many planets out there that it seems like, yeah, we wouldn't there be, right? You know what I mean? It seems like it should make sense that there would be. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hope there is though. I mean, it would be, because I'm a huge sci-fi fan. It would just be fantastic if, especially if it was some people that were groovy. You know what I mean? Who were gonna, like, hey, we're from over there. It took us a while to get here, but we got some stuff. We could talk about some, music and art and technology, and we could, do some cultural exchange and educational exchange, and that kind of grooviness. That would be, I would love that. What a trip that would be. Think about what that would do and how it would expand our perspective of what it means to even be conscious or intelligent or, that's just crazy. It'd be wild. It'd be freaking wild. But anyway, so I hope there is intelligent life in that space. Um, a Rush tribute band. No, 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 man. No. I mean, Rush is fine. I never really got that much into Rush, frankly. But I can absolutely respect, what they did as musicians. I mean, they're a fantastic band in that regard. But they just never really grabbed my heart, you know. Um, yeah. I can see how you might think that, though, especially because of, I'm not the big expert or anything on Neil Peart's lyrics, but it's my understanding that he tried to be pretty smart with his lyrics, and to have them be meaningful. I mean, even the radio hits were pretty okay, in that regard. You know what I mean? But I think he tried to be, thoughtful, right? Not just, yeah, I think he made an effort. You know what I mean? At least that's my understanding and my experience of what little I know of them. Um, Anyway, so Old Stinky says, do you like any of the classic slashers, Texas Chainsaw? Okay, so I'm not really a big fan of those things, except for I like the Evil Dead stuff. I don't know why that just hits it for me, man. It just cracks me up. It just does. I mean, I think that's the thing is I need to have for that stuff to work for me, for all of the over the top kind of stuff. For it to work to me, it really has to have a really good sense of humor. And I really like the Evil Dead stuff as far as, um, yeah, nostalgic for the 50s optimism. I don't know, 50s optimism is a thing, I suppose. I think it's like the mid-century optimism for the U.S. Unfortunately was a little misplaced because it didn't take into account enough stuff, in my opinion. But yeah. Um, I like some stuff of Nick Lowe. I'm not terribly familiar with this. He's the Cruel to Be Kind guy, right? That because he's a pop monster. I mean, it's like straight up like just pop. Um, yeah, or like Squeeze. I would put in that same kind of genre box if you need to have a thing for the record store. Um, yeah, I mean, again, I can dig him in the moment, but he doesn't grab my heart enough to make me go out and want to go like buy a record or something like that. But my friend, I think, again, I'm confusing the streams now. But I spoke about a while back in one of the streams about how I came to be a math guy, to be, for whatever. That guy, that friend that was in part of that story, He is a super huge Nick Lowe fan. So I got to listen to it plenty of times, just because he was super into it. But Zachary Shane says, nice, very good lineup there. Spider-Man is my all-time favorite. Ghost Rider is up there too. And yeah, right on. Cool. Okay, right on. Cool. Coley Poley? Is that what that? How am I doing today? I'm doing okay today. My energy level's pretty good given the fact that, it's kind of late for me. Yeah, I think I probably got a good 20, 30 minutes left to me still. So, but yeah, I'm doing okay, man. Thanks for asking. Am I a Star Wars fan? And so okay, so yes and no. I saw the very first one when it first came out, right? Because I was a kid. You know what I mean? I was being a teenager, I guess. When did it come out? I want to say 77. Is that right? 76, 77, something like that? I think it was 77. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it was huge. It was a huge cultural phenomenon. If you didn't live through it, I don't know if you can really quite comprehend it. It was a thing that was unlike other things, you know what I mean? It really hit hard. And like it was a huge cultural phenomenon. It was crazy. But yeah, I was a huge fan of that. At that time, I would have said Chewbacca, you know what I mean? I really enjoyed that movie. I think that's the only one I've really seen. I think maybe, what's the second one? Or the second one from my perspective of a calendar chronological time. I know it doesn't fit the story in the universe of the Star Wars universe, but, in Hear Me, my universe, Star Wars, what I know of as Star Wars, happened in 1970, whatever. And then the next one came out was, I think, Empire Strikes Back. But I'm not 100. That's the one, is that with Yoda? I think maybe I did see that one. Man, I can't remember. I remember enjoying them in the time, you know what I mean? But they didn't stick with me. Stuff that sticks with me, like Star Trek sticks with me, Doctor Who sticks with me, you know what I mean? For whatever reason, Star Wars just didn't stick with me. It didn't, it just didn't, man. Okay, so Freddie Edward just tuned in. Love your content, Bill. Started studying philosophy in my own time recently. Curious if you have any experience or could recommend some names I can research. Okay, let's see. We were just talking about that a little bit earlier. I kind of get interested in Schopenhauer. I took a course in philosophy of art, and the teacher there was very into Hegel, so I read quite a bit of him. And I think some of his stuff, especially on emergence and that kind of thing, is very, there's some stuff in there that I think is kind of groovy. Here's the thing, I tend to forget a lot of stuff after I've read it. I just read it and then I take from it what I want, and then I don't care. 'Cause here's the thing, I don't hero worship any of these guys. They're just dudes that had interesting ideas and had the balls to write it down and face whatever criticism they get for having written down some weird shit. You know what I mean? And I'll respect them for that, but I'm not going to hero worship anybody. I'll steal from them, you know what I mean? Because that's what you do, You get good ideas and you take it and then you use it, But yeah, so anyway, so there's Schopenhauer, Hegel. I'm also super interested in Eastern stuff, like Lao Tzu, which I'm sure I'm mispronouncing. I can't remember the other guy's name. Like Taoist stuff, like the Tao Te Ching. I also read a little bit, into Hinduism and the like, and Buddhism and the like. Actually, I guess more than a little bit, but especially Hinduism is such a vast thing. You know what I mean? I'm not even sure calling it a religion is appropriate. You know what I mean? It's sort of like Judaism, right? It's such an all-encompassing cultural thing as well as being a religion. And there's a lot going on there. But there's some fundamental things that I find very interesting, and things that I can take from. Since you're looking for recommendations, I know I recommend this all the time. It's probably more theological than philosophical that you might be looking for. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. I apologize for that. But Thich Nhat Hanh's Living Buddha, Living Christ. That's a really, really, really good thing to read. So there you go. There's some things to dig. I mean, maybe you already know about those people, and I haven't shown you anything new at all. That's you're an Evil Dead fan. I'm working on an Ash versus the Evil Dead game. Bruce Campbell. Oh wow, dude, that is cool. About the man, Evil Dead. Wow, that is really, really cool. That is really, really cool. How was that? Did you get to interact with Bruce at all? I mean, I imagine he seems like he should be a really cool guy. Because I saw, what's this TV show that my dad used to like? The Burn Notice. Because he was a character in that show. He just seems like a, I don't know, just something about him. I find him a very charismatic and appealing guy. And it's my hope that he's, a groovy guy in person too. You know what I mean? He seems like he might be. Man, that must be a great project, man. Man, I hope you're really enjoying that. I hope it's good work. I hope you get to do some good work, man. That's fantastic. Let's see. I would love to talk about art philosophy and play some co-op storytelling board games with a species from another planet. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? That would be cool, man. You're right. That would be a groovy thing to do. And Zachary, oh, Alien, he's with a question mark. Oh, you mean the movie Alien? Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I saw the first one. The first one was, man, that's another one of those things. That's an impactful movie, isn't it? I mean, and Sigourney Weaver is, I mean, not only is she a physically attractive woman, but that's a performance. You know what I mean? That's a powerful movie, I think. Yeah, it's one of those things. Um, and I think I've seen, I think I've seen at least one, if not two more of part of that whole thing. But my memory's not so good about that stuff, Carly, because I was drinking a lot back then. Um, I'm not all that familiar with Harlan Ellison. I mean, as far as like just pulling up his books as is, but um, it's my understanding did he wrote in film and movies, didn't he, as well as his own stuff, right? Or am I confusing him with somebody else? I do that a lot. Um, Star Trek has been the entertainment media of sci-fi that always stuck with me. Yeah, there's something really, the thing about Star Trek that I like is I like the optimism of the universe that it kind of presents. You know what I mean? And again, Roddenberry didn't create a perfect, universe, whatever. So people like to, oh, it's problematic about. Of course it is, because humans make things, and humans have problematic things that emerge out of their psyches. But the overall optimism and the idea that we could, like, oh, if we can get our heads straight about material things, we don't have to keep hurting each other. You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing that I find super appealing. And then, obviously they have to have conflict. So you go out into space and then you find the conflict there. Yeah, cool. Glad that there's fun there. Okay, Blade Runner. Yeah, Blade. I have not read. It's Philip K. Dick's book, right? Um, I've not read the book, but I loved the movie. I really loved the movie. Yeah, in the end, when he saves him, you know what I mean, and he says, "Oh, maybe he just loves life," or I don't remember the whole speech, but you know what I'm talking about if you know the movie. That's another one of those impactful things, man. Some movies just have there's a thing in it that just goes blank, and you just go, "Yeah, that's a thing." You know what I mean? Psychologically, heart-wise, however you want to frame it. It's a there's some stuff in there, which is see, that's why we need to make art. Humans need to make art for each other. Movies, sing some songs, do some dance. I don't really read much poetry, but write poetry just because I don't read it much. Does whatever. Do it. Make stuff. Freddie Edwards says, "Thank you very much. Some new names I've never heard of. I appreciate you guys." Yeah. There's some, yeah. I think, yeah. There's a thing in religions, right? Because part of what religion does, at least, is to try to give us guidance on how to be. You know what I mean? And if you're serious about it, I mean, if you're really serious about, investigating that, there's a lot of commonality stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, not, everybody goes, oh, all religions are the same. No, they're not really. There are differences, but there are things where there's a value of, that usually has to do with being a decent human, trying to figure out what that means and then, and incorporate it into a behavior. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff I find very appealing about in Hinduism and Buddhism. Okay, thanks. Yeah, yeah, okay, okay. So I'm not insane. Thank you, Zachary. Man, see, there's some good shows from that time period, isn't there? Outer Limits, Rod Serling stuff, because it's because he did more than just the what is it, the Twilight Zone. Um, oh man, my dad is gonna. If my dad sees this, he's gonna be bonking me in the head. You know that. Bop, 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 bop. Anyway, yeah, there's a kind of a golden age of writing, and that kind of part of the aspect of TV is lit, if you so will. Um, am I interested in non-duality? Um, I don't know how to answer that because I'm not even sure about the question. I mean, I understand what you mean. Um, I just don't know where my stance is on it, frankly. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I can't comprehend the universe well enough to understand if I am an emergent thing out of matter. Um, am I a thing that is separate from it at all? Or, you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Because here's what I am sure of, right? Because out of my meditation practice, Bill, the I, me, mine, this ego thing, is not me. It's a thing that I do. You dig what I'm saying? I mean, you can get there just by meditation. You can find that space by meditation, and that's an interesting place to experience and be. Um, but again, I find that being it's an interesting thing to do, is to be, yeah. But I have not gotten to a place where I feel like I've answered any giant questions in that matter yet. But the thing is, I'm not sure that. I think the question begs the question. Maybe, you know what I mean. I don't know. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. I'm a screwball and I don't know. How's that? um, okay. Okay, Zachary, go ahead. Go do what you need to do. I will. We'll catch you next time around, man. And there you go. Mm. So I'm looking at my stats over here. It says we have 15 people, although that says 16. So I guess, oh, okay, because Zach's leaving, maybe one of them's showing his left and the other one's showing he's not. But now somebody's in. See, I don't know which one is saying is whatever. I don't know. Maybe I should just ignore that stat thing. I keep kind of looking over it out of curiosity. And anyway, yeah. All right, so I'm going to call that my end time is going to be 2:30, because that'll give me a few hours sleep, and then I can get up and get my whatever going, and then for the 9 o'clock stream that I'm going to do tomorrow morning. So yeah, 2:30 will be shutdown time. That way I can get about 6 hours sleep, and I should be able to function reasonably well on that. Manga ASMR, is that supposed to be like manga and then ASMR jam together, man? If not, I hope I don't take any offense, please. But hello, hello. Thanks for showing up, man. I'm only going to be here for a little bit more, but I'll be back at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, or this morning later. Um, okay, yeah, you're probably right, huh? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's. Well, when you get closer to the whatever, let me know where you're at with the Evil Dead thing, because because I don't know what platform I would need or anything like that. But I'd be interested in checking out your work. You know what I mean? Just because I think here's the thing. I'm going to be presumptuous, but you're here. You've hung out with me. I'm going to count you as a friend now. So I like to see what my friends do. You know what I mean? If you do good work, I want to see you do good work, and I want to be able to support you in that. If not financially, at least say, hey, dude, you do good work. You know what I'm saying? Um, Anyway, yeah, 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 yeah. And you're welcome for the videos, man. Okay, cool. And if I may inquire, manga ASMR, I hope seems like a weird, awkward thing to say. Um, So what part of the world are you in, and what time, and all that kind of stuff, and what's your weather like? I've just kind of been asking people that kind of nonsense. Uh, okay, if it's on PC, I'm wondering if I can run it on Wine because I use Pop OS. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I think, well, there's people that live upstairs. Maybe one of them have a console that I might be able to, hijack for, something like that. Because that would be, I want to make the effort to see it, man. Just because now you've really got my whole curiosity going. You know what I mean? It's like, haha. I don't know. Would it be something that maybe I could somehow figure out a way of suitably turning it into an ASMR video? That would be groovy. I mean, if you guys would allow it, of course. I mean, I wouldn't do it, on I wouldn't break any pre-release thing or anything like that. Obviously, I don't want to, obviously I'm going to respect your work. But, all right, cool, cool. Right on for the weather thing in Kansas. Cool. It's been all over the place, Jordan, as far as the topics. In both streams, they've kind of bled together with me, so I can't keep them straight. But I've talked a little bit about my just life in general. I've talked about how I got to be into math and that stuff. I've talked about my musician history a little bit. I've kind of talked a little bit about art and movies and books and philosophers, and it's all been fairly superficial, really. I mean, I'm not, we're not doing any graduate seminars here. You know what I mean? But it's kind of been all over the place. And it's going to be the same at 9 too. I mean, I'm just gonna wing it. I mean, it seems like it's working. It seems like you guys are digging it. I feel like it's a good vibe. So yeah, it's just what should happen. Yeah. Um, okay, right on, man. Yeah, yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Is there anything, Jordan, that you're interested in touching on? I mean, I don't mind repeating stuff as long as it's not, I can just be brief about it, give you the Reader's Digest version if I've already talked about it. So 10 a.m., Freddie, that means you're a bit ahead of me then. Let's see, what's that? Are you like UK, Europe sort of area? Have you already said, and I've just been brain dead and not catching it? I am a little punch drunk at this point, you know what I mean? And, okay, so we work with many streamers for social media and promotion. Any promotion is good promotion. All right, yeah, well, when it comes time, talk to me, and I'm happy to, give you guys any kind of amplification. You know what I mean? There you go. The philosophy talk didn't really get into any real topics per se, other than me just sort of babbling on about stuff superficially. But I was mentioning authors like Schopenhauer. Somebody asked for some like recommendations, that kind of thing. So yeah, I didn't really get into any deep thinking about it or anything. Mostly just because I don't know if I have I don't know if I really want to make the effort right now. You know what I'm saying? Um, but hopefully you're not too disappointed in that. But yeah, London town. All right, right on. Man, I haven't been to the UK in a long time. I would love to get back there. It's been since '98. Um, okay, get you, Robin. Gotta write and ponder some stuff for my tabletop role-playing game that needs to be done today. I am in Sweden. Have a good one and take care. Okay, man. You take care too, man. I'm glad you could come by. And yeah, go do your stuff, man. Do what you need to do, man. Right on. Oh, hey, Dad. You're up late. How long did you stay around for the last one? This one's been kind of, yeah, it's been kind of the same thing, a little bit different, different questions, different discussions, whatever. But and I'm only going to be here for about another, I don't know, I guess 18 minutes, because I'm going to cut it at 2:30 so I can get some sleep before the 9 o'clock one. I figure that way if I'll probably be able to get to sleep pretty quick, and that'll give me about 6 hours. Oh, Dad, there was somebody earlier. I don't know if there's, I can't remember which stream they were on. I think it's this stream. Somebody has your books. They like that they got turned on to you from here, or not here, but the video that I did of your whatever, and they have your stuff. So you need to write more stuff. Is the consensus? At least, well, not consensus, but their vote is you need to write more stuff, and they liked your stuff. I don't remember who it was now. But there you go. So Jonas Watcher, right? That's they I think they even said something like a phrase that was like Jonas Watcher rules or something like that. So so you have at least one fan among my fans. So okay. Have I missed any questions here? Okay, it's very expensive now, especially. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Well, I don't know what your politics are, but I think Brexit was a mistake. But anyway, there's my 2 cents on that. Well, the expense of being in London for me is kind of irrelevant because there's no way I could get there now. Regardless, it was cheap in London. I'd have the means of getting there. Period. So yeah, but can't keep a guy from wishing though, huh? Yeah, actually, that's the thing that got. Yeah. I'd like to be back to the UK for a visit. That would be good. Yeah. Holy mackerel! Thank you. That's very, very, very generous. Dat Silencer is. Everybody say thank you for Dat Silencer. Yay for you, man. Thank you very much. I always feel awkward about how to respond to those things. Other than that, just I am humbled by the fact that you think it's worth. You know, I appreciate it. I absolutely appreciate it, and it will. You know, money is a useful thing. So thank you. That's groovy. Okay. Okay, it was very much so one of the most good. Yeah. Well, the world will move forward. We can always try to just do the best we can with where we're at when we're there, right? I know that sounds just silly and kind of a platitude, I guess, right? Is that the right word? Maybe not. Yeah. Yeah, he does. I doubt that he would poke in now because of what's going on in their world. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's probably more likely that if they poke in at all, it would be at tomorrow's 9 a.m. one. Yeah, just because I have no idea what to expect. I will be speaking to them before the stream, just briefly. Um, but yeah. Okay, so good morning, Bill. Wasn't expecting live stream. Okay, so morning. Are you also Europe, UK kind of a thing, or do you just get up really, really early here in the States somewhere, or maybe you're in anywhere else in the world, and your morning is just whenever you want it to be, man. I feel like yeah, I don't know. I feel like I should have something to entertain you guys with. I feel like I'm just kind of sitting here with dead air time, but Oh wow, 7 p.m. Right, yeah, because you guys, well, the Pacific Ocean is huge, isn't it? So you guys are, you know, way around over there, man. It's like I'm always fascinated. Well, not, yeah, I guess fascinated is an okay word. When you see those pictures where it's like it's a picture of the globe of the Pacific Ocean, and like it can fill almost your whole view of the globe. You know what I mean? It's just so vast. It's just crazy, just crazy. Oh, fantastic MSE 3700. That's fantastic. Yay for me. Fantastic. Yeah, man, yeah, so I got to figure out a way of turning that into an ASMR video. Oh, okay. Well, you just got home. All right. Well, you found me. I hope I hope it can provide you with any kind of value at all. You're here on the tail end of it, frankly. Um, I will be back at 9, but yeah. One thing is, so those of you who here who weren't here earlier, um, the thing is, or the attempt is going to be that I'm going to try and do something like this where I do multiple time things. I think I'm going to try and do it once a month. Um, at least that's kind of where that's where my head's at now. If everything goes well, I feel fine now. I think my back will be fine tomorrow. We'll find out. I'll find out tomorrow. Um, but yeah, that's the plan. So if any of you guys hadn't heard that yet, that's what's going on. Oh yeah, Jordan. I spoke to a friend of mine. Um, yeah, 7 p.m. Right. So, how are you guys with wildfires down there? Do you have an issue with that? Because we get that here at the States, and somebody in Canada was talking about that earlier, that they were having really bad smog. I was just wondering, climate change and all of that. Um, are you being touched by any of that down in the Australian world? Yeah, I did like Alien. Yeah, I did like, we were actually that we discussed that movie a little bit earlier. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's frightening. It's a monster movie. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. But yeah, I really do like that movie. Armin 27. Hey man, how's it going? Nice to see you. If you're just showing up, just to set your expectations. It's only like 9 minutes left on this particular stream, and then I'll be back at 9. And I think I need to find a better way of getting the word out or whatever. Yeah, my back issue. I have degenerative disc disease. I don't do yoga really, but I do some exercises that I've been given at a physical therapy and that kind of thing. They allow me to get that every now and again. Um, but yeah, so I do some stretches and the like, and I need to expand that effort, frankly, because it doesn't get better. That's the downside to the thing, right? Right now there is nothing to be done for it, but just endure it. Um, but so I do take gabapentin for the nerve pain. As long as I'm careful about how I move and what I do, that's usually good enough as far as pain relief. If not, I have to get in touch with the doctors and they give me something else. Usually it's a muscle relaxant because it tends to being spasms, because pinched nerves. That's the thing, right? And then yeah, so yeah, yeah, I have to do what I have to do. Okay, so a lot of back burning in the last week because of the. Okay, right, yeah, yeah. I guess if you can do anything to prevent that stuff, um, because my well, here's my intuition down there, is it because you guys are so sparsely populated compared to other parts of the world, if something goes running rampant, it could get up a big head of steam. You know what I mean? maybe faster than you guys might be able to respond to it, or am I, over? I don't know if I infantilized your guys' response capability or something like that. It just seems like it's a bigger place per person. You know what I mean? It just seems like that could be a lot to handle. And yeah. Okay, right on. Yeah, right on. We'll see you at the next one there. We got 7 minutes there, or thereabouts, right? Yeah. So does anybody have any burning last questions? Oh, I didn't think about that. Right. I mean, as far as not, yeah. Man, wow. Well, I mean, that would be the thing where you guys would really, be wanting to have good technology, right? So you could do, like, the, I don't know, some variation of Doppler radar type things for weather, right? To be able to, track that kind of stuff that way. I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but yeah, I hope you guys can find a thing. Anyway, okay, so Freddie Edwards says, I'm sorry to hear that. Keep on keeping on, Bill. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I can't say I'm a fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. I've seen it, but it's always been less like when I've seen it. I never saw it in a theater. I've always seen them like when it gets released, people could see it at home, kind of thing. And it's always been at least as much about the social occasion as about the film when I've seen it. You know what I mean? So I've enjoyed it, but you know what I mean. I don't know how it would be if I watched it outside of that context. Like I said, because I'm not a really big slasher sort of scary movie guy. I tend to prefer suspense, like Hitchcock type suspense. Um, yeah, we talked a little bit about that earlier, right? Like Rear Window is one of my favorites. Um, to Catch a Thief is one of my favorites. Vertigo is really good. Um, but yeah, North by Northwest, right? I mean, well, he's got tons of movies that are fantastic, doesn't he? The Hitchcock man. Um, yeah, I like his approach to suspense. I really do. And I did say earlier, except for I can't stand Topaz. I've never actually seen it all the way through. I can't. It's like I can't watch this. This is crap. Maybe that's me being harsh, but ah. Wait, you moved. Wow, the Jackson guitar thing. That's really intriguing to me. Because there's a couple of Jacksons. I'm wondering which ones you guys will get to be doing. Because there's a couple of models I actually kind of have a little guitar lust for. Just because, guitarists do that, right? We get this, what's that guy? HP something. It's this German dude who is a guitar guy. Um, and he calls it guitar porn. And in a way, he's right. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. There's a couple of Jackson guitars I would find very interesting, especially because the EVH that I own is the first guitar I've had, or actually the only guitar, so first and only guitar I've had with a well, not first, that has a compound radius on the out for the fretboard. And it's kind of, yeah, I'm okay with that. It's kind of a cool thing. I like the, yeah, and I know that there's a couple of Jacksons like the Monarch and a couple of others where they use that same thing, and it's a similar sort of thing where it's 12 to 16 change. And for those of you who don't know about the guitar radius thing, it's the fretboard as you play it. Here, I got the. So the fretboard is this bit right where I do the finger, and it's not actually flat. It's slightly curved, right? You know what I mean? So this has a 10-inch radius. So it would mean that the surface is the same as if you had a circle that was a 10-inch radius, right? It would give you the curvature of this. And so the EVH, it starts at 12 and then it increases to 16 down here. So it gets progressively flatter the higher you get up the neck, which has to do with, your hand positioning, right? It works better that way. It's just a mechanics thing. And yeah, it's kind of cool. Although I'm so used to this that the consistent 10-inch radius is fine for me. But anyway. Okay, let's see what else we have on here. We were in the very early stages. There's a 6 to 8 month lead time on the. Right on. Okay. Well, if you can ever, if it's okay for you to get hold of any of the graphics, you could just send me so I could, kind of, get a peek at what it would look like or something. That would be great. Or just let me know what's going on now. Because now you got me hooked. I need to know what's happening. You know what I mean? Okay, so here we go. Freddie says, fair enough. I saw them when I was 6, reading. My parents restricted me. Of course. That makes it a little bit precious, doesn't it? Right? When you can I could go get the restricted movies. I'm not supposed to see that, right? So this is 2:22 PMB. Man, I'm about to end this stream. Like you're just showing up right at the end of it. Because like 2:30 is when I said I was going to end it. Wow. So, well, hey, I'm glad you made it here, I guess, even if it's just for me to say hi and then, shortly bye. However, I am doing another one at 9, my time, right? It's 2:30 my time now. Yeah, so I guess it'll be 6.5 hours roughly, right? I'll be doing another one. Okay, right on. And here's the thing. Also, since you're late to the party, as it were, I'm gonna try to do this multiple time zone thing that I'm doing. I'm gonna try and do it once a month. So you'll have more opportunities. Now I'm gonna try and get regular with this because I think it's a good thing. It's people seem to like the stream, so it's good for my channel, I guess. And also, I get to be with you guys. You know what I mean? I know we're not physically in a room. No, not being able to shake hands or anything like that. But it's okay. I mean, yeah. So I think this is a groovy thing to do. Anyway, so let's say how many hours till the next stream, so you don't have to do with time stuff. Oh, okay. So it's going to be 6.5 hours from now. And yeah, I'll try to have it be like this one where it'll run a little bit long. Like the first one, I only did for about an hour and a half because I was fearful of how my back was going to react. But I'm just going to go all in. I've got the recliner with the massage chair, and I've got ice packs and stuff. And yeah, I think I'll be fine. I'll be fine. So I just want to make sure that I'm dialing in the right time zone so that I get as many of you as I can, right? I mean, that's the whole idea, right? I want to hang out with as many of you as I can. Anyway, okay, so it's 2:31 now. I'm going to sign off, you guys, and then for those of you who can make it back at 9, I'll see you then. And for those of you who can't, well, then hopefully I'll see you next time round. And yeah, okay, aloha siblings.